did 2 of these Daenerys paintings throughout the weekend. They auctioned them off.
Woo!
And I think he made probably it was like $300 a painting. It was nothing.
Wow, that's not very much.
No.
It really is not very much. Corn. Alrighty, so diving into tonight's episode, a quick recap.
That's right.
So, last we left off, the party, having made their way through and out from the village of Alaki, passing through a series of obstacles on their way to the Amber Temple, eventually finding themselves in the village of Krace, a very small village, essentially commune-style, families all helping each other, very little in the way of trade, if anything at all. But the Abbey of St. Markovia on the very top of the hill near to the village.
Which we've heard of for a long time.
After delivering the children to their families, assisting finding some families for the lost souls, and removing the curse of one boy who had successfully evaded being noticed having the lycanthropy.
Fucking guy.
But managing to settle him nonetheless, returning everyone to their families, you made your way up to the Abbey just to give it a once-over. You know, you're here, why not? And finding there these very malformed, mongrel-like creatures, kind of rapid hybridizations of animals with humanoids, of assorted animal pieces mixed in together. You've got your slight dog faces, your fish-like faces, but with larger lion's manes. You eventually were given an audience with the abbot, a contrastingly beautiful man standing before you. Absolutely impeccable features, strong, muscular in every way, wearing flowing white robes with gold trim, and immediately everyone hated him.
He's pretty punchable.
Yeah.
One would say he could be a Chad.
Gamers rise up.
Now we gotta fight him.
Yeah.
Right now.
But after paying tribute with a fine bottle of wine and using the opportunity to hide behind their shield and recite the 4 lines of Morning Lord prayer that were on the shield itself, find yourselves in his good graces. Be given not free reign, but an escorted walk around of the Abbey, and be able to find the things that you had previously been interested in looking at. So last we left off, Allura was going to be heading out with Otto, the dog-faced humanoid carrying the shovel.
Hey, Allura, mind if I tag along?
Along with Leaf. While Les decided to just simply head up the stairs.
That's
and
right.
The rest of the 3 of you were standing inside deciding where you would like to go.
I'm gonna go with Les.
With that, let's get started.
Yeah.
If we get back to that town and find that kid strung up, I'm gonna be really upset.
You're telling me I'm gonna be upset.
Really
I
upset?
fucking fixed the
No.
I blew a spell slot for that. Better be good.
With Allura saying that what you wanted to do first, you get Otto to come around, clomping over, carrying the shovel in one hand still. Leaf coming with you. Would anybody else like to join? Or is it just...
Anyone want to come outside, check out the grave with us?
Hope, where do you want to go?
You want to come out?
Yes, I would like to come with.
Let's go see what's going on outside.
Alright.
Oh. Yeah.
You can come with me, but someone should watch this through.
Because you are going to the graveyard, is that correct? Yeah,
I had basically gone.
Yeah, you were already making your way out the door, and Otto was kind of struggling to come after
To be
you.
honest, I think I'd rather do very little in here.
Hope, let's go outside and look at a grave. You want to?
Okay, Leaf, if you feel so strongly about these graves.
Well, I'm feeling pretty strongly about this.
Alright, so Allura, you having kind of trudged your way out, you know where you're going, you've seen everything at this point. Otto kind of hobbling to catch up alongside you and eventually pass you at a bit of a panting run on all
I
threes.
think we came in here.
a bit. The other two clomping out fairly heavily and armor clanking behind them as you silently make your way out the front door.
Sorry, Jordy, where are we on the map? Where are we standing with what's-his-face, Chad?
Courtyard.
Yeah,
This is the room where you met Basilka. This is where everybody is. Allura has just gone out into the courtyard this way.
Okay, and then the graves are over here?
Correct.
Okay.
All on the side.
Basilka?
The mom thing
Is the creature.
The creature. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yes.
The creature the abbot is made for.
Flesh golem, as it were.
Well, let's call it the creature. That's a good Mary Shelley allusion.
So, with you two making your way outside, you 3 I should say, Allura, you are leading the way, with Otto kind of haphazardly following, leading, not exactly sure where you're going.
I'm going to be heading through the graveyard, starting to kind of look at all of the different tombstones, headstones, not necessarily going straight for the one that I saw, but looking through, just investigating, maybe making a note of a couple of the names up there on the tombstones, and then also, do I see any ravens?
Any ravens? Okay. I'll get you to go make a perception check first for the tombstones.
First roll. I'm glad we got this thick.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes.
Oh God, no!
What did I say? An investigation check?
Perception.
Perception.
For the gravestones first.
5.
5. Looking through, a lot of them are very weather worn, and you've got a purpose. You're walking somewhere. You know, you're walking to that, and then realizing, oh right, gravestones, and just kind of looking around a little bit and catching a few things. You don't notice much, but you do notice that as you're walking, almost every single gravestone that has something you can read on it has the single name Bellevue. Belview. Some of the first names have been scratched off or marked off in some way. There's nothing really that stands out beyond that, but you do notice that on everyone that you read at a glance, they all seem to have the same last name.
Okay.
As for the ravens, go ahead and make another perception check for them.
16.
16. Looking up and around, don't appear to be any ravens in the sky. None landed on any of the scarecrows or anything around it.
Okay.
Can I make a religion check, just glancing over all the gravestones, and see if they're all in kind of like design of like the Dawn Father, if there's any that are sort of outliers?
Sure, go for it.
Okay.
Nice reasoning.
Thank you. 17.
17. All of them appear to have some kind of symbolism for the Dawn Father. Some the sunburst, some a small crop of field, crop of plants, at least at first.
Okay.
Eventually, a lot of the markings seem to disappear, and they more so just become headstones, just name, and that's it. No dates, no anything more, just you would imagine maybe remembrance. And there is also a difference between the gravestones that you're looking at first, walking past them and looking and noticing all the differences in the in the symbolism and in the names and the care that is put into them. Even the grass there is kind of growing a little more fruitively, I guess is it bountifully. Whereas you continue on, the ones that have less care attended to them, they are more haphazardly placed and more sparse. They don't even appear to be graves, more just marker stones.
Could I extend that? Did they by any chance look like they were all put up at the same time?
They do not.
Okay.
They look definitively decades apart, potentially centuries.
Just checking.
Sorry, it's the
Shit
older
that goes wrong.
ones that are less cared for?
Correct. No, sorry. The older ones that are very clear and not so much cared for, but placed with intention and purpose. Whereas the newer ones, where the carvings are there and definitely less worn, but they're just kind of like stacked a little on top of each other.
New management.
Yeah.
So you eventually making your way around the corner, finding the cracked gravestone, looking around, trying to find it. Go and make another perception check or investigation check. Sorry, to try and find the right one, because they are stacked kind of on top of each other at this point.
An investigation check?
Yes.
20.
20. Okay.
Dang.
Yeah, DC was 18. So you're looking through, finding your way through the gravestones, and being quite careful about it, as to not let anyone walking alongside pick up exactly what you're doing. You eventually find the single cracked gravestone, which you would have expected to be on top because you heard the loud snap, but you actually realize that it's two separate pieces that are underneath a large gravestone. And at this point, you can see that they're all just stacked 5, 6 high, just on top of each other.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda's taught me anything. There's a dungeon here.
So, what
Push that shit.
what is the name on this gravestone?
So you currently can't see the one underneath. There's the one on top that you can see, and the one on top has no names of any kind.
Does it look like I could shift the one on top, or like
it's heavy. but you
maybe
could move it.
like accidentally lean on it in a way. Oh god, I
Classic
didn't even mean that. I
Allura.
didn't mean that. That was
Classic
unintentional. I just want to maybe do
Death
this.
sucks.
I just want to like do it in a way that doesn't look like I'm like, oh, I need to look at this one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Tell me how.
I want to like look
you
like
want
I'm.
to fall onto it and kind of oh no and shove it off the top.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I want to do. I
Okay.
want to trip and fall and
Okay.
just be like, oh no.
Go and so this will be
You've
one
been
of,
learning.
This is one of my homebrew style things. Go and make a dexterity based performance check. So if you're proficient with performance, you get your proficiency, but you get to add your dexterity instead of your charisma.
So I take my performance number and I also add dexterity on top of it.
No, you add your dexterity, and if you're proficient, you add your proficiency bonus.
I'm not proficient.
Okay, so it's just add your dexterity, whatever you rolled.
So 13.
13? Okay. Ooh, I get to pick my set dice.
Oh no.
Pick the green ones. Fuck.
No white. The white ones are very hit or miss. If it's the white and blue, it's like 19, 1, 22. Alright.
Or like 2 weeks ago, it was like
Natural 5.
20.
So he just kind of is looking around a
was
little
terrifying.
bit and then just kind of notices you go, oh no! Whoosh, and just shunt this thing. Go ahead and just make a quick strength check for me to try and move it out of the way now that you've pratfalled onto it.
It's a natural 20.
Natural.
Wow.
So you're just kind of like grabbing it with one hand and pratfalling and planting your other arm into the ground. You just whoosh, and shunt it right off the top, slamming onto the ground. There's a loud noise, but you do see inherently as you kind of fall and cover the gravestone, the one that it was cracked, you notice that there's a small glimmer of gold, maybe a ring or a pendant of some kind that has kind of cracked on the inside of that gravestone, which you also notice has no names or markings on it of any kind.
Can I like do a quick like shuffle, and then like palm
You're
that
fully
in?
covering it at this point, so you
Yeah.
can kind of just reach in
Yeah,
and try to
that's.
pull it
I'd
out.
like to do that.
Just make a sleight of hand check.
Grave robbing. It's what we do.
So don't steal anything inside you have, you're gonna be inside.
18.
18, good enough. So you manage to reach in and just kind of like feeling this little bit of metal, you kind of get your nails just on the other side of it and just give it a hard tug, and you feel a little bit of the granite of the gravestone snap slightly, and you manage to pull it out and just destroy what little bits of rubble are preventing it, and quickly just kind of pocket it into your sleeve. So yeah, you have an unknown ring, but is a very nice gold ring.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Otto. Oh my gosh.
Well, are you alright?
Yeah, I
You fell
tripped
there.
and fell. All of the gravestones here are piled on top of each other. Oh, that was so sorry. I apologize to this person's resting place. And oh my gosh, Otto, what can you tell me about this this graveyard for all of these people?
It's the old family. All the Bellevues. They're not around anymore.
Thanks,
Were they
Otto.
from Krisk or?
They used to take care of the Abbey. The ones before the Abbey moved in.
And sorry, what was your name again? Was it Otto?
Otto.
Have you always been here, Otto?
All my life.
Did you survive some kind of illness? Was there some kind of plague upon the lands?
No illness. No plague. Just, what was necessary.
Alright.
Can I insight check to see whether they're saying it kind of like mournfully or kind of like that they agreed that what was necessary?
Sure, go for it.
That's 19.
19. It's tough to read.
Damn it.
Yeah, there seems to be a
That's quite the
little
DC.
bit of hint of sadness, but that's about all you can really get out of it.
Rise up.
Otto, were you here before? Did you know the Belleviews?
Yeah, I knew them. They were good people.
Do you think that the abbot is good people?
He's the best.
Okay, can I insight check that?
Sure, you can as well if you like.
Yeah.
He's
You're
the
one
best.
talking.
There's
nothing wrong with him at
That's
all.
like Emilia Clarke saying that Stephen Season 8 is the best season ever.
I saw the abbot in the shower, and he had an 8-pack.
Oh my god.
I just got a 13.
I didn't get a 13, so...
It's tough to read.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he seems... The abbot keeps him alive, keeps him fed.
Well, guess we'll,
best
Do
at
you
doing it.
need assistance with putting these gravestones to where they should be, or is this
No,
deliberate?
no, they're fine where they are. Thank you for the offer.
Okay.
But no, it's all fine.
Oh, I think we're gonna
Have you, is there not enough space here? Or are all of the bodies buried in the same grave?
Space didn't used to be much of an issue. Things change for the better.
Otto, did you know we were sent here to seek out two fathers of the Abbey? Did you know either of them? And
No.
Father
Pranish.
Pranish and then Father Samael.
No, I didn't know them. Sorry.
Do I believe him?
That's a check.
Yeah, I think I'd seen when I looked for
Natural
that.
20.
Oh,
Hey!
go for it.
Finally, something.
Let's fucking go!
I just said that it had been too long since we had a good whisper.
While we're here, guys, check out IamBRF on Instagram, and you can see Brent Brave Racing, the man who we were talking about earlier.
You are obsessed with this.
He's so cool, and he's genuinely like just the nicest dude.
Yeah.
Like the first time we hung
Wears
out
the sickest clothes.
at after one of the shows, he was like, "Yo, Jesse, we should go pick up girls together," and I was like, "Okay, why?
Why?
Do you need an opening act?
Yeah.
What's going on?"
They'll probably all just go home with you.
So,
There's like not much of a better opening pickup line than like, I dress up as Khal Drogo and paint shit with my dick. You're just like, I'm here just for the novelty act. Like,
I just want to see how this works.
I'm here to support that.
yeah.
It's better than like, did it hit when you fell?
Probably.
I was painting Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
I feel like that hurt.
His dick hit the ground first. That's the joke.
That was
The old
Okay, moving on from
I had
dick
a
jokes.
kickstand joke and I fucked it up.
Kickstand.
Well, are you alright?
Yeah. I just this is it's a little heavy in a graveyard.
Fair enough.
Would you like to recite the prayer of Palo once again? Otto, would you like to join in on the prayer?
I don't really know the words anymore.
Well, I have them on the back of my shield. Would you like to read it with me?
And he kind of like looks around the side of the shield. And,
Is that a language? I don't know what those words are.
Oh, fuck yeah,
It is, but would you like to repeat it after me? And to say our peace to these people in the
For the
graveyard?
Bellevues.
Sure. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, and I kind of like kneel down on like one knee and like kind of have my like shield in front of me once again, just very like kind of respectfully kind
he
of.
kind of like uses his shovel to hop down onto one knee as well. You do notice actually now that you're actually a little bit closer to him and you get a better look. While he has a bit of a dog's face and kind of like a gnarled dog's paw, his left foot, now that it sticks out from underneath the gray or the green robes that he's wearing, you notice is actually more like a crow's foot. Like it's got 3 talons on it. Whatever he is, it appears to be more than just a dog man.
Hey, Jordy, could I insight check Allura to see if something weird's going on?
Something weird's going on?
As I was like,
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
She was talking about how heavy the graveyard is, and she's never
Go ahead and roll
demonstrated this before.
roll a deception check.
F me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm good at those. So
Yeah.
21.
Wait, is it meter B? Because I got
Meter B.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang!
So,
So-
he met your DC, so
Yeah.
you have to divulge whatever.
Well, you can do that
it's a minor
secretly.
thing.
The only
Right,
thing I'm
I-
looking for is is there something like?
I've noticed something.
Okay.
But like I was already trying to convey that to you guys.
Oops.
So it's more so that like she was kind of being like,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Oh.
I think something's wrong.
Yeah.
Otto, is there anything
Otto's
you?
praying up right
Yeah.
now.
We're about to
right now.
pray.
Oh, okay, do that. We'll do that one first.
Do you want to do that?
So, may we be granted the courage to confess our sins.
May we be granted the courage to confess our sins.
May we be granted the strength to overcome our burdens.
May we be granted the strength to overcome our burdens.
May we be granted the spirit to forgive those who have wronged.
May we be granted the spirit to forgive those who have wronged.
May we be granted the light to carry us out of the shadows.
May we be granted the light to carry us out of the shadows.
And can I kind of put like my hand on Otto, kind of like a reassuring like pat on the back?
So you kind of reach out and you notice that he's looking at the ground. He's not really paying attention. And with the pressure of your hand on his back, he just instinctively jumps away and kind of holds himself up on all 3 feet. You can see like the talons on his foot extend.
Did you just
slightly.
say all 3 feet?
Yeah, because he's got 3. He's got like a dog's paw, a human hand that's gripping this, and then he's got a canine foot and like a raven's talon claw foot kind of thing. Or sorry, crow's foot, I should say. Yeah, so he's kind of got like 3 feet, like a paw and
Yeah,
2
he's like
hind
always-
feet, and then 1 human hand.
So is he down on all of his paws on the ground
All,
right
all
now?
3, and then kind of holding himself up on the shovel with a human hand.
I'm sorry, Otto. I didn't mean to surprise you.
It's fine. Just not used to people touching me.
I just thought you'd done a great job with the prayer.
Thanks. Is there anything else?
I think that there's something that you'd like to share. I think that you did know Samael.
No, didn't know him. Didn't know the guy. Cool name.
Why are you being so secretive about someone you know or knew?
Why are you asking questions about somebody you didn't?
We've been asked to look after him. We don't know what happened to him.
Maybe that's for the best.
And he kind of turns around and starts to hobble away slightly out of the graveyards and kind of into the main thoroughfare.
You coming back, or are you done and you leaving?
I think we should go soon, you guys.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I'm ready to. I can go warm up the car if you want.
Start the car! Start the car!
By which you mean cinnamon?
Oh, it was
We just like a
Excellent. Let's go.
While all that was happening, you immediately
Is that a
head up
fire
the
inside?
stairs.
What was the leaf did you figure
You
out?
following? You
Yeah.
following?
So, sorry. So the abbot's still here.
Correct. So he's
The
in that room,
stairs.
kind of just sitting at the table, and you can see he's begins almost instructing Vasilka, explaining how to move, how to have grace and things, and
Right.
it is following the orders and moving around.
Don't like that. So the stairs at
No, don't like that.
nope.
So,
like
so
that at
there's-
all.
so there's a set of stairs going up, the ones at the bottom, and then a set of stairs going down, the ones up top.
Okay, and where out here was the I think we saw like a metal plaque with writing on it.
Yeah, it's just to the right of the double doors in front of the fountain. So other side.
Oh, here?
So
Did we already
if,
look
if
at
you
it?
were walking inside,
Mhm.
from outside to in, it's just on the right hand side of those doors.
Okay.
And you already looked at it as you were walking past it.
Okay. But when these guys go the stairs, I'm going to sort of like fake out to go with them, and then I'm going to slip into the shadows because Pass Without Trace should still be active at this point.
Yeah, so you
An
can
hour?
make a soul check.
And then I'm going to
Oh,
go
yes.
just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, fucking look around, try and poke my nose into some shit.
Yeah.
So you're going
Find
out.
that new
So you're
character.
going completely out. You're not going downstairs. Because the door is closed right now, so you'd have to open the door. But
Yeah, okay, I'll go down. I'll go to whatever set of stairs you don't go to.
Okay, so you two are going
Downstairs, I
upstairs.
guess.
We'll come to you after
Yeah.
that one. So we'll come to your stealth check. Remember, you have to
Shad
roll a
and I are
stealth
going
check.
upstairs.
You two heading upstairs. Alrighty, so now to get mine.
Nice going, Scoob. Ruh-roh.
Where's this dude?
Imagine if that's what Les's voice was actually like underwater.
Oh
But
my.
it's just Scooby Doo.
No, it is angelic and sounds like Jude Law.
Oh,
In my
that's
head,
an
it was
angelic?
decay.
So
Oh my.
as you begin to make your way up the stairs, you reach kind of the top of a first landing, about 5 feet off the ground or so, and there's a second set of stairs going up to your right. Beginning to make your way up, one of the things that you had realized that you were hearing but not really clearly understanding was the sound of a stringed instrument. And you kind of just assumed it was generally permeating from somewhere, but as you're getting closer up the stairs, you notice that the sound is becoming stronger. It's becoming louder. So, the wooden stairs climb 20 feet up to a loft with a pitched roof and a door in the center of the south wall. Unlit lanterns hang from the rafters, and a rope dangles from a bronze bell lodged in the belfry about 30 feet overhead. The room is filled with the sound of beautiful music, a melody so enchanting that adds a bit of much-needed warmth to the otherwise freezing area. A black shroud covers a humanoid shape laying on a wooden table. The music does nothing to stir it. A cot heaped with furs rests in the northeast corner, surrounded by empty wine bottles, while an oil lamp burns atop a table nearby, silhouetting a squat creature that has 2 heads. It sits on the edge of the cot with a vial between its legs. With a crustacean claw-like appendage, it grasps the neck of the instrument while running a bow gently across its strings with a single human hand.
It's your boy.
The creature's right head is fully formed, combining the features of a patchy-haired man with those of a goat, complete with stubby horns. Its left head, however, is about half the normal size and has a soft, cherubic face, partly covered with crocodilian hide along the left side. He wears an ill-fitting monk's robe with a belt made of hempen rope. He just kind of sits there playing the music.
Are you seeing this too?
I am.
Do you know what this is all about?
Let's find out.
We don't really have these underwater,
You have the crab thing.
but we have very many various creatures and monsters under the deep for sure, but none of them that have other creature parts together.
I'll take the lead. I'm gonna walk, just casually over to the guy and be like, "It's a lovely song you're playing. Does it have a name?"
And he just kind of stares up, and you can see like the cherubic eyes, and then the other set of eyes. Like the first set focus on you fairly well, and the cherubic ones kind of are a little bit slower to react and eventually come up and meet your gaze. But you can notice that this creature is rosy-cheeked, definitively drunk.
Yeah.
Just the one head?
No, so both heads are rosy-cheeked.
Okay,
The cherub
okay.
head is like consistently red, whereas the other one is a little bit rosy-cheeked,
Okay.
like a little more drunk.
I guess you would call it a party monster.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say,
No,
it sounds like he's pulling a
Don't
double header.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say, it sounds
A
like
double.
he's pulling a double header.
That's a good, that would have been good too.
Yeah. Hey,
a double-
Ryan. Hey, have you come? Where are you?
My name is Dr. D'Amato. This is my associate, Les.
You're a
I think
doctor
it's a
there.
party that
I
has
am.
like 2
Ah.
fancy things happening.
That's fine.
Like on this show.
That's
that
pretty
has,
cool.
What about
2
you?
headliners kind of thing.
What are you?
Like,
I
might not be
defend
cool enough to
the
know.
realm. You're welcome.
The
Yes.
Cheers to that! And he pulls a bottle kind of out of nowhere from inside the furs and just kind of takes a big hearty swig.
Yeah.
And you can see that the cherub head is kind of like turned over to the side, like trying to catch little bits that are swinging off of the main face.
So cool.
So what do we
What's
call
your
you?
name?
We the 2 names or 1 name?
What's your name, friend?
We're Calvin.
Cloven.
Cloven. Good to meet you, Cloven. Have you been here at the Abbey very long?
Only life.
Yeah? So you've known the abbot quite well.
He's a good man.
I'm gonna inside check that.
Go for it.
Can I offer my hand out to see if he'll hand me the bottle of booze for a drink?
I'm the drinking champion.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not gonna ask him for it.
I
Just be
know.
like,
But that's an 18.
18. You can see him kind of snickering under his breath, like it's a prepared line. He's a good man.
We love him so much.
Yeah.
And you kind of like reach your hand out to potentially grab the bottle, and he just kind of looks. Pleasure to meet you. And he pulls this.
Yeah.
He pulls the claw, like the crustacean crab claw, like lobster claw, and kind of crimps down on your hand. Oh, yes, alright.
That's a fine looking claw you got there. What type of crustacean?
It's pretty good, eh? Snips it, and he just kind of like snaps it at you a little bit.
Moment.
This is the best encounter we could have found.
Still got a lot of good grip in that jaw.
You bet you fucking, huh?
Yeah.
Was that your choice?
No. He's giving me.
Who get the abbot? Did the abbot do it? He seems like a pill.
He's a good man. He's
Come on,
he's
Cloven.
freed our inner demons.
Come
is
on,
what he's done.
Cloven.
What did he just say? Sorry.
He's freed our inner demons.
What does that mean, freed your inner? You seem like a cool
he's,
dude.
He's shown us the things that we didn't want to see about ourselves.
But like, you seem really cool. Why would he do this to you?
Why are you talking that way?
I don't fucking know.
I know.
He just said it was necessary.
What about? Do you know the guys like in the courtyard and Otto and them?
Fuck him.
You don't like them?
Not like me. I don't fucking like him.
What's their deal? What are they all about?
Food. They want to be fed all the time. They're just hungry. Fuckers.
Yeah, drink to that if I had something to drink.
Sucks to be you.
Oh!
He just finishes the bottle and just kind of like, and holds it up there for a good like 15 seconds, slowly chugging the rest of his bottle of wine.
I found my friend.
You notice as the bottle rolls away, you get kind of a bit of a glimpse. You do notice that the label inscribed on all the bottles is for the Wizard of Wines. You notice the same labels that you had seen on the wines that were in Vlaki. The two vintages, Great Mash, Purple Great Mash number 3, and the Red Dragon.
Hey, Wizard of Wines? We met one of the owners.
Oh, which one? I never met him.
Yeah, it's the woman that runs the Blue Water Inn in Vlaki. Have you ever been?
I born in Christ. Live here ever since.
Do you know anything about the winery?
It's far. They bring wine. We go down and get it every once in a while.
So like, Abbott's kind of a pill, right? Like.
No, he's amazing. He gives us food and he gives us a purpose.
What purpose?
Protection.
Your purpose is to protect him?
Abbey.
Oh, and the well, I mean,
Well, that's my purpose, and then his fucking things they protect as well.
Do you mind giving us a little bit of the tour up here? We were just kind of curious as to what else was going on in this lovely structure of yours.
He just kind of looks around the room, and it's just a square room. There's a door from where you came upstairs. There's a door kind of on the south side of where the room is, and he just kind of like looks around and just.
It is a lovely room, I must say.
I love this guy.
It's
Bringing him along.
He's their ally.
Well,
Have
I
you
don't
ever,
know
like-
what else to do up here?
Hold on, I'm gonna talk to Cloven some more. So, Cloven, like, how long has the abbot been working on his project down there? Do you know?
Years.
Years.
Well, the first one didn't turn out so good. It protects fucking over there.
Is that on the table there?
No, he points down and kind of like through the floor a little bit to the other side of where you currently are. On the other side. Not straight down. Damn it! Not straight down, but over to the other building. So you've got the map. So this top building here, he kind of points out towards that building.
At least finds a ghoul part 2.
Oh no!
But that one, it wasn't pretty. So he scrapped it, and it keeps the fuckers in line.
Keeps them in line, but I thought you guys were here to protect the place.
The ones who disobey.
Oh, have a lot of people disobeyed?
No.
Oh, I had another question.
We noticed that the Abbey kind of gave us a general overview of other things to explore while we're here on our visit. There was a series of rooms over on the other side. Do you have any question what's in there, or is it worth checking out at all?
Fuckers.
The more fuckers?
The worst ones.
How many fuckers? What species of fuckers?
Mongrels.
Oh.
Fucking mongrels. Like me. Just worse.
You're not the worst.
No, you're great, Clover.
You play music beautifully with a claw
I sound
hand.
like me, but worse. Asshole.
Oh, right, yes. I did not hear that part.
You maybe listen next time.
Yeah, I should listen.
Oh,
And
Cloven.
you notice that the sheriff head is like looking pretty upset right now. He's starting to
Cloven.
cry a little bit. He's just fucking dick.
So, hey, Cloven. Is there anything we should know about in here? And while I'm doing this, I just want to flip a coin around my fingers, a gold coin.
They're shiny.
Yeah.
What? Anything while here?
Just, stuff we should be aware of, or, what,
If you want to go see the fuckers, I can show you. You need me or you get fucking stomped. But
I'd rather follow you. You're a pretty fun guy.
He seems great. Let's go.
Yeah, be a great guide.
If you want, we don't really go upstairs. We can show you downstairs.
Oh, what's upstairs?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Place that we just don't go anymore. Is kind of scary.
It's scary. What's so scary about it, Cloven?
I don't talk about it.
Take him upstairs.
We're your friends, Cloven. You
I
can
can
tell us.
fucking show you the door. You can.
That's fine, Clover. Well, you just come with me and we'll go upstairs together. And I start taking him up there.
So which arm do you grab? The human hand or the claw?
The claw hand.
So you grab the top of the lobster hand and you notice that it instinctively kind of and it like almost catches you a little. You can imagine that it's got quite the grip strength.
Yeah.
But you kind of grab that and you begin to make your way out the door. So making your way out the door. This will be where we cut over to you in a sec.
Sorry, new ally. Taking
Y'all just leave
He and
the
Math
sleeping
Casimir
person
can
in
share a
the
bunk.
fucking room?
So there's a stone plinth as well with like a black shroud covering kind of like some kind
Y'all
of
just walking
thing
by
on the table.
Oh.
So you're leading him out. You could theoretically lift it if you wanted to take a look.
Yeah, I
was
totally
a-
want to take a peek under there.
Okay.
It's you!
Ah!
Beneath the
And
shroud
they go, hey, doctor.
lies a creature made of stitched together body parts.
Oh, that adds up.
A pair of white horns emerge from a darker skinned, bald face with muscular amphibian-like shoulders and arms sewn onto this all too familiar head. An amalgamation that you know quite well. You look at every day.
Oh, cool!
You kind of blink for a second, taken aback by this, and rub your eyes and look again as you kind of drop the sheet, and you notice that it's completely now been replaced. Whatever stitched together entity was there is now just assorted body parts, not even stitched, just kind of haphazardly laid on the table.
So it looked like
it was.
Les?
It looked like an amalgamation of Hope's horns on Allura's head with Les's shoulders.
You didn't lift it enough to see Leaf.
I did just fall off the end of the table.
That was so perfect.
And Leaf's mighty hog down the way.
If you go close enough to the body, be like
The
in
tripod.
Zoolander, where the bed just goes.
It is truly canon. That is truly canon.
That was great.
That was great.
That was.
So you, even for you, and even for Rick,
This is fucked up. Yeah.
that's fucked.
Real quick, I'm just gonna, before Cloven and Les have left, I'm just gonna be
Yeah,
like,
and he's just kind of like hobbling at this point because you notice that like one of his legs is like a crocodilian foot, so it's like super short in comparison.
Right.
So like the cherub half of his body is like really low to the ground, but it's got a regular human arm, so it's dragging his hand along the ground.
hey Cloven, what's this under the sheet here?
Extra pieces.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Wait, but they changed back when you looked, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So at first glance, you saw that amalgamation. You just kind of like, what the shit? And then it was just assorted pieces that were unstitched, just like waiting to be put together kind of
I
thing.
see.
So stepping outside, scarecrows line the Abbey walls, looking outward on both sides. You essentially are walking along a parapet that goes along each side, now back outside, and you see that there's a door on the far side as well. The scarecrows all wear tattered chain shirts and carry spears with rusty heads, kind of just propped against their bodies, imitating the guards that you thought you saw. Courtyard below is completely blanketed with fog that you had walked through before. So, Leith, coming to you. Go ahead and roll your stealth check for me, please.
Okay, with Hunter's Mark, it's 20.
With Hunter's Mark?
Yeah. Or not Hunter's Mark, Path to Trace. That was the top
Okay.
Yeah.
card. Sorry.
Alright, so could you roll like a 2?
I rolled a 3.
Okay, that sounds right. So, the stone steps descend 20 feet to a cellar that contains 10 barrels, full barrels of wine, full-sized, and an L-shaped wooden rack packed with wine bottles. The barrels in the center of the room, you can notice, have the lids popped off, and they are apparently empty, and emblazoned with the winery name, the Wizard of Wines. The 6 stacked against the east wall are labeled Purple Grape Mash number 3, while the 4 against the south wall contain Red Dragon Crush, which you know to be the cheap and expensive wines, respectively.
Check out this wine.
The racks contain, give or take, 30-ish bottles of the cheaper wine. You notice the label is definitely less well done. Maybe in 2 dozen or so of the nicer wine.
Okay. Is that everything? It just looks like a standard wine cellar. Can
Pretty
I
standard at first glance, yeah.
look around to see if there's anything kind of hidden down there?
when
Sure,
we
make
were
an investigation
praying outside, we were actually praying a Leaf made it out of this encounter.
Right?
unscathed.
I believe that's the worst luck. Okay.
Almost rolled a natural 20 for the Abbots. Exception.
Oh, well, that was not 20 for my investigation check, so 23.
Okay.
I like it when you say okay like that.
Yeah, this is the good one. So, stepping through, looking at all of the empty barrels of wine and some of the remaining full ones, you would imagine that whatever was given to the abbot as tribute probably didn't actually really impact anything. It was more so just so that you weren't being rude. He's not exactly short on wine. But looking through, you do notice that among the empty barrels, almost all of the bottles are full, except for one. There's one that's been stoppered, but kind of looking through, you catch a bit of a glint of a sheet of parchment inside.
Oh. Can I carefully check it to see if it's been trapped, and if it has not?
Sure, make an investigation check.
Okay.
You're not allowed to.
Great, that was a 19, so it's going to be 22 in total.
22. Doesn't appear to be trapped.
Okay.
Like the rest of the bottles, it's just kind of very lightly placed.
Okay, so I'm going to really carefully, I'm going to look at it really carefully to see exactly how it was placed.
Mhm.
And then I'm just going to, without taking it out, because I don't want to disturb any dust patterns or make it look like I've seen it at all, I just want to pull the cork out, pull the paper out, and try to disturb it as little as possible.
Sure. Go make a sleight of hand check.
Okay. 17.
17. Okay. So reaching in as best you can, finding the little bit that your nails can hit on that cork, and just holding it in place, you ease the cork out. The bottle shifts just a little bit, but it kind of resettles back into its native position. And you manage to pull out. What do you have? Trying to look through your stuff, figuring out if there's anything you can use to kind of reach in there. Do you have a set of tweezers or
What do I
or
have?
Like a,
Chopsticks.
Well, I could honestly use an arrow to just like sort of slit in there and then pull it out, but I have thieves' tools.
sure, we'll say your thieves tools.
Yeah.
So you kind of like take one of the L-shaped bits out of the thief tools and reach it in there very carefully, scrape against a little bit of the glass, and then just kind of hook into it. And you tear just a tiny little hole in it as you pull it out, but overall looks fairly intact. There are a series of runes on it. Definitely look arcane in some way, but you have no idea what this is.
Well, I'm not gonna steal it. But can I try to?
But can I put it in my pocket?
No, I'm not gonna take it. Okay, do I have
Who's
paper
in
on
there?
me?
Who's the spell to get us out of here?
I think I gave my
Strahd killing spell.
Did I give the kit that I took from the death house to you that had the like
The ink and
The
stuff.
ink and
forgery?
paper
Yeah,
and stuff?
you're proficient with forgery stuff.
Yeah.
You did.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna examine it as carefully as possible.
Okay.
Actually, I have an idea. Okay, I'm gonna use the tip of one of my arrows. So my like bracers are just plain leather.
Yep.
I'm gonna use the tip of my arrow to like put the rune. Actually, that's a really bad idea.
Oh, you're about to give yourself enchanted armor.
Or something else entirely.
I'm not gonna steal it. He told us specifically we
It's a
couldn't
fireball
steal
spell.
it. Yeah, right. At least just blew her arm off. Fuck it.
That's where the fire was coming from.
No, I'll just try and remember it.
Try and remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and just make a straight intelligence check for me.
How's my
Put
intelligence?
on
This
your
will be
feet.
how well you can remember what you see.
Put on your
Okay.
thinking cap, at least.
Oh god.
Thinking crap.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a 9.
9.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
wise, I'm not smart.
Me member good.
So you kind of look at it, you're like, okay, got it. Triangles. You put it back, and that's pretty much what you remember. Runes are triangle-ish. You remember, like, vaguely what some of the shapes are, and you kind of, like, vaguely commit it to memory, and just kind of, like, trace your finger in the air a little bit. Got this, you got this. I've done spells before, I know what I'm doing. And you kind of pop it back in. Pop it back in, question mark?
Yes.
Okay. Restopper it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you begin to make your way back up the stairs. Getting back up to the top of the stairs, you kind of round the corner a little bit, check on the abbot. He appears to just be continuing to teach Vasilka. At this point, she is continuing of her own accord, and he's not doing anything, just essentially sitting. And then just an occasional correction on something if she were to stumble or anything like that.
Okay.
Definitively looks like somebody teaching someone how to do something.
Okay.
How distracted does he?
Yeah, right.
He's pretty
Just
into his
pick
work.
them up.
And I snuck him in
Get
there.
on the back of the knees so we can't grow anymore.
I'm just kidding. Did you just Thanos snap us?
No.
The entire abbey crumbles. Alright.
Okay, how much time has passed? Where am I kind of...
For you being down there, not long. You kind of did a brief glance around the room and then like a quick thing. The only thing really to look at were the wine bottles. Took you maybe a minute, if that, to find that singular scroll. And that was about it.
Okay, so I know I rolled a low intelligence bonus, but did the writing at all look to me like the writing that's on Hope's shield?
On Hope's shield?
Yes.
No. But it did look similar, actually. Good point.
Or to the circle that we found in the
No,
paragraphs?
none of that.
Yeah.
But it looked similar to the language that you had seen written on some of the scrolls that Leaf has used and traded before. So you would imagine, actually, you would know that this is some kind of a spell scroll. You just don't know what the spell is. Yeah.
I know, but I'm not fucking taking shit until... You know what? I know where it is when we come back and murder this guy, so...
Okay. So, from there, you as best you believe, are fairly... Actually, I'll get you to make another stealth check for me, because you did go out of sight and did a little bit of rummaging, so...
Please don't die while I pee again.
I'll do my best.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh, yeah.
he doesn't know that I went and did anything. I could just be, like, peeking into him again. Fuck.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
No, it's fine, because I have Pass Without Trace still, so that's gonna be...
19.
Yeah. No. My stealth is really good. Where is that, by the way, though? That's gonna be... 22.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so very slowly, carefully making your way back up the stairs. It's exactly the same thing. Natural 20. So Yeah, you make your way back up the stairs, and he's just kind of just watching and listening to the music.
What is he instructing her on? Like movement?
On movement, on assortments of dances. So you can see her switching between foxtrot, box dance, things like that.
Okay.
So you have your reign if you wanted to try to get out the door to be able to make your way into the courtyard, or you can make your way back upstairs where you can hear the music at this point has kind of stopped.
I'll join these guys upstairs. They're going to. Not that I know.
We're on the way to the third level.
I know. I'll go after you.
Well, it's fine.
Given how
Actually,
long
yeah.
you had been chatting with him and how quick everything was down there, you would be essentially leading
Crab bucket.
Cloven out the door as the doctor lifts the sheet, and you see the doctor just kind of and then drop the sheet down, and then turn around and see you come up the stairs, and so all three of you would be together, being able to make your way across.
Who the fuck is this dude?
This is Cloven. He's our new friend.
He's a very talented musician.
And he's super cool.
Kind of an ugly motherfucker, don't you think?
And he kind of like overcorrects with the weight of the lobster claw and kind of like begins to tumble forward a little bit.
Oh, well,
but
hey.
you holding the claw kind of prevents him from completely falling over.
Watch yourself
as
there,
the
Chloe,
like
buddy.
cherub head kind of flops over to the side a little bit and then kind of like and like pulls itself back up a little bit. No.
Aren't you a lovely mishmash?
I need a hat. I need a hat. And he turns her back around and quickly hops back into the room. You can see him like dive into the furs and with the human hand just kind of rummage around a little bit and then pulls out a big, super big bowler top hat and just kind of.
Does it go over both heads?
A new top hat.
That's yours.
Okay.
Yep, that's yours.
And just kind of. Onward.
Alright.
Lead the way, Cloven.
So he ends up making his way across, eventually over to the other side. There are two doors. He's got one on the left and one on the right. I'm not going to walk across.
What's
You're not
the
walking
difference?
across. Cloven has neglected to mention why he won't go up there.
Scary. I don't want to go. I like music.
How
You're
scary.
such a good musician too, Cloven. What's so scary about up there?
You guys are doing a terrible job of in and out.
We don't go there.
Okay.
I've been told not. I don't want to. I don't want to go.
Okay. Well, how about my friend Alith here? She likes some open air on the parapets. This is Alith. Perhaps you could take. Wonderful, Cloven. So perhaps you could take Les and I down to see everyone, the fuckers you said.
Fuckers.
Yeah, and Alith can chill back here and wait.
So
for us.
he's just said it's scary and you want me to... Yep. Alright, go see the fuckers.
We going down?
Les, do you want to go meet some fuckers?
Do I?
Sounds like you do. You know what? I'm not feeling so well. Cough, cough, into my bloody handkerchief. I think I'm going to stay up here on the parapets myself. Les, do you mind just going with our best friend Cloven?
Yes?
Cool, alright, we'll be here. Cloven, you and Les, why don't you go hang out downstairs?
Come on.
Cloven's third
Fair enough.
pulls it
Yeah,
out.
these guys are weird.
Alright.
Great to meet you, Cloven.
So you just kinda-
We'll see you later,
He begins to
Cloven.
make his way back, kind of stumbling over a little bit and catching himself with the claw that's like, in comparison to the other guy carrying a shovel to prop himself up, the claw kind of does that for
It's
him.
alright, Clovey, I got you.
So the two of you begin to make your way back inside, eventually down the stairs, and as you reach down to the bottom floor, you just kind of... Abbott, I'm taking this one across to meet the mongrels. And you just, yes, that's fine, go. Good day. And then kind of reaches out with the claw hand and then the human hand to push the door open, and you begin to make your way into the courtyard. So, you two up top.
A very fucking soul of gallantry, that one.
You see him make his way out from the downstairs with the doors opening inward, leading Les across to the other side. And you do notice all of you actually, and even you guys around the corner at this point, because you would be pretty much wrapping up what you were doing, that kind of looking back in, and you especially, as he walks out, all of the creatures that are tied up to the sides with the chains around their neck and attached to the horse rings begin to shriek, and some of the ones with wings begin to like fly and try to almost get away before it catches them by the neck and kind of pulls them back down a little, and he just kind of, shut the fuck up, fuckers.
Did these people do something to you, Clovey? You seem very agitated towards them.
They don't like that. He likes me. They don't like it.
The Abbey prefers you over them.
The Abbot.
Right.
The Abbey chooses everyone the same. He likes my upstanding service.
What service would that be? Playing the music?
Feeding them.
Would this be the thing up top?
No. Feeding them the fuckers. I feed them.
Where we're going?
I pull the bell.
To see the
And
fuckers.
when I pull the bell, they know food's coming. I have to feed them.
Oh. What do
They
you
don't like that I control the food.
What do you usually feed them?
And he kind of points off to the corner, and one of the things that you hadn't really seen so far, because you've been mostly preempted by everything that was happening on the bottom side, is there's just giant series of troughs of just slop food.
Okay.
Pig feed of different kinds. You can see
I
like
thought that was
assorted
gonna be worse.
bones in there. Most of it looks like it's animal based, but that's not saying much.
It's all beyond me.
That's some
Yeah.
grade
Is it
A
vegan?
quality things you got in there.
This shit. But I don't get the wine. I get the wine. So.
That's true.
That's fair.
Alright, this is fucking up. And then he
All
starts
right.
walking further across. So, you two up top.
Cool. Hey,
You got two doors. You got one on the right and one on the left to be able to go into the second floor. It's on the same level. You kind of just made your way from one building across a parapet to the other.
okay.
Do the doors look the same?
Identical.
Okay.
Is that juju you pulled still active? Still happening?
Yes. We can. Yeah. I guess my stealth is probably still under. Like my stealth check from when I came upstairs is still active.
It's
Now
passed
you
without
joined
a
up with
track.
them and talked. Not really.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you, the two of you would re-stealth individually.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's check the doors and see if there's anything suspicious.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Who's taking what door?
I'll take the left.
I'll take right then.
Go ahead and make perception checks for me.
Well, as our new party's outside.
Cloven.
Oh boy.
21.
10? Okay. You leaning, pressing your ear right up against the door, looking for any kind of movement underneath. Nothing as far as you can tell. You just kind of like customary. It's all good.
Did my perception check count for checking for traps?
Well, I'll say sure.
Okay.
It didn't. Neither doors appear to be trapped. Neither of them are locked either. You kind
Okay.
of like jiggle the handles a little bit.
Okay. Should we go in the same one, or do you want to go in?
I think we go in the same one.
Let's go over here. I don't hear anything at all.
Okay.
So
let's
sorry,
do
you
that.
were at the door on the right?
Left.
Left. Okay. So,
Can I quickly stealth check?
yeah, you two can go
Stealth.
ahead and stealth.
Okay,
if you
yeah.
want.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll say Pass Without Trace is still active, so plus 10 to your rolls.
Oh boy.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so that's gonna be 26.
26.
29.
29. Okay. So,
I love pass without
effectively
trace.
stealthing, grabbing the handle, very carefully twisting it. There is definitively some resistance there. You can tell this probably hasn't been opened in a while.
Jordy, I'm
and-
sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. 32, actually. I forgot my bonus.
Nice.
Thank you.
So, quick twist of that. The door opens inward. Kind of peeking inside as best you can. You see that there's a wooden counter shaped like an L stands at the front of a spacious office. There's furniture, but it's all began to rot away. Heaps of moldy wood, faded cloth on the ground. That's about it.
So, is this the same room that the right door leads into as well? Are they the same doors for the same room, or are they different rooms?
Yeah, from what you can tell, different rooms.
Okay, I don't see like the door on the
yeah.
other side of the door.
Kind of like peeking inside and coming around the corner, you do notice that there's a staircase going down. And as you hear the conversation of the two of them walking over and you hear the thud of the door open, you just hear raucous screams and cries coming up the stairs from the level below.
Okay, so it leads down to the stables,
You would
basically.
imagine into whatever that is.
Okay.
It's an office, you say?
It's an office, as best you can tell.
Bookshelves, desk, that kind of thing.
Yeah, all fairly rotted at this point, splintered wood, warped from moisture that's gotten in, completely unused, but it appeared to have been some kind of an office.
Anything on the walls? Like
Nothing on the
paintings
walls
or...
anymore.
Or any salvageable papers that we can
That's
check out?
it completely rotted
Everything's
away.
gone.
You pick up
Okay.
a book and it just crumbles to ash and dust in your hand.
Other room?
Yeah, let's check the other room.
There is a door on the far side.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but okay. So let's try that
let's
one.
do that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's the door. So the parapet outside, you've taken the left door. There's another one there, and then there's the staircase immediately here, and then a door over on the far side as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll check the door.
Okay.
So I'll check for traps / suspicious / if I can hear anything on the other side. //. That's perception.
Yep.
25.
25. Pressing your ear up against the door, looking underneath. No sound except for the sounds of the cries and the howling from down below.
Oh,
Cool.
That's about it.
Okay, that's not trapped. Okay, I'll try and open the door carefully without.
Same thing, just kind of.
This is all happening when we were
And you
falling
kind
on a
of
gravestone.
the handle almost breaks off the door with the amount of force that it takes to open it, and you can see and feel the rust and all of the warping of the wood that's pressed it into the side, and you really have to shunt to get the door open, but it does open up eventually. This room, spacious chamber, bed frames of wrought iron arranged in two surprisingly neat rows. Cobwebs, bits of rotten mattresses still cling to each frame, and 3 doors are spaced along the south wall, each with a plaque mounted on it. At this distance with your sight, from west to east, so closest to you to furthest away, you see operating room, nursery, and morgue.
Gross. What the fuck is in the nursery?
I think we should check these out.
I can't totally disagree, but I don't.
Is there anything else in the room? We
Nothing
just
on the walls, it's just the beds, the plaques, and the doors.
okay.
All right. Well, because I fucking hate myself. Let's look in the nursery.
Sounds good.
Up in the nursery.
I mean, I was going to start with the operating room, but yeah, let's get the hard one out of the way.
Okay.
Not just randomly opening the door. You can assume that Leaf is being super careful in here, so I would always
So
be
we'll say,
checking.
assume you're super careful for all the doors.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay, so
And checking for traps and all that.
yeah, that's none of them appear to be trapped as
Okay.
best you can tell. So you kind of do the same thing onto the nursery door, and it's again really hard, but you kind of slowly push it open, and you kind of feel it catching a little bit, and eventually break through whatever rust was there as you pull the door outwards, and it reveals the chamber within. Fairly small, 20 by 20 feet. You see that the nursery contains the wreckage of a series of old wooden cribs, about 6, maybe 8 of them at the best of times.
Of cribs?
Yeah.
Is there anything else in the room at all?
A few broken down bookshelves, a small table that's badly warped and the leg's been broken off of it.
Anything on the bookshelves?
Looking around, your eyes kind of looking through everything. You look out and you actually notice that in this room, in comparison, there is actually a single clean pane of glass. That looks out over the everything that is around the village.
Like it's clean, like it's been recently cleaned enough to see through, like there's no dust?
Relatively. And as you do, it's beautiful. It's massive. The view is immense. It's the first time you've seen nothing, not a threat, nothing in sight that would really put you at dis-ease or at unease. But as you're looking out, your vision focuses on a reflected image of a nun in a pristine white robe standing in the doorway behind you. You spin, grabbing your sword, and see no one there. Looking back to the glass, the reflection is gone, and only the view over the forest remains.
Here comes the ghost.
Yeah, alright?
I saw a fucking nun in the glass.
Well, that confirms my suspicions. I think this may well have been the place where the Abbey's previous residents may have lived.
You also do remember from the conversations you had down below that this used to be a hospital as well.
That makes sense.
I don't like what's happened here. Obviously something's happened to the previous residents of this place,
Mm.
and I mean, either they're part of what Cloven calls the mongrels, or they're all dead.
Or both. Part and part. Let's check these other two. Maybe there's some tools I can use in one of these rooms.
What did the nun look threatening, or did I just sort of see her as if it was like, did she look aware of
It
me?
was just a figure that
The nun.
It seemed to be almost just watching over.
Okay, but did she look like she was like looking at me?
No.
Okay.
It was just a reflected image of her just kind of looking into the room. You saw a slight smile across her face.
So not that threatening or anything.
As far as you can tell.
I'd like to check the operating room.
Same
Very
thing
careful.
applies. Very carefully, as best you can. This door is a little bit easier to open. Still definitely weathered to the same degree, but maybe a little bit luckier on the latch. A bloodstained table stands in the middle of this otherwise empty room with a single scalpel on it, covered in dried blood.
Oh, I could use that.
I'd not take anything. We don't know what the abbot's powers are and how attuned he is to this place. He might be able to sense if we've taken something.
Anything else in the room? Just the table and the scalpel?
Table, scalpel sitting upon it.
No windows or nothing?
No windows.
Okay.
How fresh is the blood?
You
It's
can
dried.
take a step in, look at it as best you can, kind of get an idea. Can you touch it?
I have gloves on my hands, so I maybe touch it with the gloved hand.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can just run your finger across it. As you place your hand on the table, you suddenly just feel your body convulse and your head just snaps back and you just begin a bellowing scream. You can't help but open your mouth. You let loose, filling the small room. You just see her head snap back and just instantly scream at the top of your lungs. Your hand is locked to the table as the scream begins to be joined by other fainter ones, and you begin to hear multiple voices emanating from within, all just screaming out through Elif's body. Those of you watching, you and Rick, see nothing. You just see her screaming, touching the table. That's it. But you feel and see the pain of everyone who's ever been placed upon this table, who's ever gone under that knife.
Okay. Is it like people who have been there when the place was a hospital, or is it people who have been experimented on by the abbot who are passing through me?
All of the figures that you're seeing are fully human. None of the mongrels. The table, although bloodstained now and bloodstained at the time, appeared to be in well-kept order. You would imagine this would have been past memories, maybe just stored within the table with no kind of release. Those who were brought here died under that knife. One after another, the screams echo through time, through you, until they start to fade and remain as nothing more than haunting memories in your mind. And the scalpel just kind of remains motionless on the table again.
I'm gonna turn to Rick and turn back to Lee and do one of those office looks where we're both just like...
And you just kind of... and like really have to catch your breath, like you've been screaming for 20 seconds.
So I guess that fucked my stealth check.
As you can tell, but
Yeah.
all of the screams seem to be kind of combined with all the noise coming up from below. Nothing
Yeah.
appears to be reacting differently in any way.
Hey, Cloven, you hear that?
Fuckers.
Alright.
You good there?
I just felt everyone who's been on this table. There's something strange about this place. But they were all human. It wasn't. I don't think he made the mongrels here. I think this is all part of the Abbey when it was a hospital. But there's definitely something strange about this, and I'm not sure if it's part of what's connected to the abbot or if it's its own eerie thing.
Well, one more door.
I'd say let's not touch anything this time.
Opening up the morgue.
Alright.
You've heard of
more door,
Luigi's
again,
Mansion.
same thing.
Elif's
Very backside
Abbey.
hard one. It takes a couple of good shoves of shoulder checks against it to really get through it. But you do eventually open it up. Inside, it is a completely barren room. Nothing on the walls, nothing on the floor, no bookcases, no shelves. But there is a single raven perched, alive and moving, on a broken window.
I cast Speak with Animals.
just kind of.
Man, what the fuck?
So I ask it, are you of this place?
And it just instinctively takes off, flight out the window. But you do track its movements and follow it because of the angle of everything. And it flies down into the gardens and perches onto one of the scarecrows that is in the garden and just kind of like looks back up.
Okay, I mean, like, I know it didn't talk to me, but did I pick up anything from that interaction with the, like, communication that was going on?
It seems, with everything that we've known so far,
His
of
head movements.
the fact that specific people within Balaki were were-ravens, this did appear to be an actual raven.
Right.
Best you could tell.
Fucking guy.
Did it seem like it was trying to lead me to the gardens, or was it just leaving?
Best you can tell, maybe leaving.
Okay.
Ravens are smart, but it didn't know you. You tried talking to it, it flew away.
Cool. Let's go hit that other door.
Fuck. Okay. Nothing else at all in this room.
Completely barren.
Okay.
Stone floors, stone walls, broken window. That's it.
Window overlook anything of any significance?
Window overlooks in over the gardens
Okay.
completely, so that's why you were able to look down and kind of crane down and see that it landed on a scarecrow. There were 4 of them scattered around inside the gardens,
I see.
and it landed on one of the nearer ones to you, and then just kind of hopped around a little and looked back up and craned its head.
Okay. Can I quickly, while we're there, because I've got sort of an idea of where Hope and the rest of the party are for the most part. Yeah.
You knew that they had said that they were going to go to the cemetery, to
Yeah.
the graveyard. It's been some time since that. You have no idea where they could be.
Just
now.
awkwardly saying,
Can I have Rick just pop out the window, try and find Hope, and tell Hope that there may be something in the garden?
Okay, so we'll get to that after. You two want to head back to the last door upstairs? Okay, so we'll close this one up.
Yeah.
So opening up the door, no real fight to this one in comparison. You see that there are bunk beds, but they disintegrated, very similar to all the beds previously. They lie in just heaps along the wall of a moldy 30-foot square room, picking through everything. It looks like it may have been some kind of lodging, definitely adult-sized, not for kids, but beyond that, nothing of any real interest.
And they're not allowed to come up here. They say it's scary.
I can fucking verify that.
What could be scary about these rooms?
I think perhaps it's the ghosts of all the pain that are screaming through your brain if you touch anything.
That could be it.
Okay, with like the sense of all the creepy shit that's happened already, like the nun that I saw and all these people, is there anything, like I don't want to get taken over, but is there anything that I can sense in this room?
In this room, looking around, very gingerly, not wanting to touch anything, like pulling a dagger out and just kind of prodding at things.
Yeah.
Doesn't appear to be anything.
Okay.
Cool.
Whatever it was, it seemed to be confined to those 2 rooms with the closed windows and the closed doors.
Okay.
Interesting.
The OR and the not the morgue, the
nursery.
The
The
nursery
nursery.
had the closed
Yeah.
window and the closed door. The operating room had the closed door, and then the last room, the morgue, had the broken window.
yeah.
And now you open the doors. and
Oh
it's
fuck yeah, we
free.
did.
Good. Good.
Maybe it will banded with us against the Abbot.
So that's gonna be you guys. So we'll jump back down to Leaf, Hope, and Allura. What did you 3 want to do after everything?
So-
You would have come back around the corner after your little trek. You would have seen less leading / being led by this multi-headed cherub humanoid cloth hand crocodile foot creature that just all of you were like, what the fuck? As he's just kind of like proudly walking across the courtyard.
Should we figure that one out, or?
I think that we need to get out of here sooner rather than later.
Les!
Yes!
Who's your new friend?
This is Clovey! Or Cloven? Do you like Clovey? Can I call you Clovey?
Cloven.
Clovey it is. So Clovey here has got a big old claw hand. He's gonna show me where the fuckers are.
I think we really
How
missed
does
something.
Otto react to this?
Otto just kind of like looks at Les and looks at all of you and then looks back at Cloven. You can see he just kind of narrows his eyes a little bit and a little bit of anger. He's not hiding it.
We hadn't met Cloven. Is Cloven assist yous in some way?
Cloven feeds us. He's the trusted advisor. Well, he's just trusted. I don't know. Just he feeds us.
Is it safe for our friend to be with him?
If it's safe to be with anyone, it's safe to be with him or the abbot. He's the only one who can control the monster.
What do you mean by monster?
Well, Bazilka wasn't his first. I mean, he had test results. Other ones, bigger.
Bigger?
He had to make what he saw as being the perfect one. This was early test. It's more of a protector than anything now. Killed us if we get out of line. Cloven. Yeah. Cloven has its trust somehow. I don't know. Something they haven't did.
Is it... Yeah, how many tests were made? How many other Vasilka-like creatures are there?
Just the one. He took that, realized what it might be able to do, and then spent years making her.
I think we need to go.
Yeah, lesser,
Is Les continue to walk with Cloven after kind of shouting at us?
Yeah,
should we
I'm
jog
assuming-
over, or?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
You
were just
give
like-
me a reason to stop. I'm just like, I'm going this way.
Yeah,
Les.
no, you guys having talked. Like he's already at that door, and Cloven's just gonna
Hey,
stay behind me.
All right.
I thought he called someone Steve.
should we, are we
I think
jogging over this one?
Yeah.
Okay,
we
yeah,
need
yeah,
to-
yeah.
We need to go, you guys.
Skedaddle over
And
to,
he just kind of like pauses for a second and grabs the door and swings it open, and you can see he just like leads claw hand first out into the center, and you see on the far end, the lightless corridor has multiple doors on each side, 4 on either side, none of which are fitted with a lock, but all of them are closed. Stepping between them, him holding his hand out, you hear mad cackles, screams, whispered curses of whatever creatures lie beyond those doors. But even more pervasive is the stench. And even for you, someone who doesn't really have that great of a sense of smell, at least on land, this is
Downstairs.
horrid.
It sounds
Like you
where we are.
instinctively just grab your tunic and cloak, whatever you have, and just begin to cover your nose and just kind of... And it is just every possible scent that could ever hit your nostrils of rotting flesh, waste, excrement, just anything and everything that just wafts out of these closed doors.
This is why I hate air.
On the far side, about over 100 feet away, but it is somewhat lit, no torches, but with the light that's spilling in from the assorted sides, you see a monstrous shape, 8.5, maybe 9 feet tall, just become lumbering down the hall, picking up speed as it's making its way towards you. When the darkness can no longer hide its true nature, you notice the stitches. But unlike Vasilka, this creature is much more rudimentary, basic. Stitches made for function rather than aesthetic. And it's just begin to really pick up speed, running down, arms swing at the sides.
Cody!
And then he just kind of snaps his claw together with this loud crack. And the creature just stops dead in its tracks, throws its hands out to stop itself as it kind of crumples under a little bit of the weight, and then stands itself back up. And then just kind of stares forward. You can see this gaunt expression, eyes not really focusing on anything, mouth stitched shut, as it just kind of looks down. And then turns around and begins to slowly lumber away.
That's a good trick there, Clovey.
Oh, gee, you didn't want to come here. You're on your own.
Proving that right. What is this place again? Just where he's holding monsters to experiment on or something?
Mongrels, the fuckers.
Right, the fuckers.
He keeps them in line while they're here, and if they step out of line, they either get a chain or they get a fist. And he just kind of points to the ground. You can see that there are just spatters of blood on the ground. They could have kind of seeped in a little bit. You would imagine one of those heavy fists just slamming down onto a body and just...
Well, this was a lovely tour, Chloe, but I think I'm going to turn around right quick and just get out the door here, if that's alright with you. Yep, okay, see you later, bye! And just let go.
He just kind of like turns around and...
There's a less shaped cloud behind us.
Hey, gas cloud might actually come in handy.
As what I thought. No, I have to go in there for a line. Fuckers!
And then I just go like,
Bing, bang, and like just slams the doors closed. And you guys would be finishing upstairs, you know, in a little bit after this. So you kind of like waiting around, looking at what's going on. Hope you would feel a pressure of Rick, thank you, landing on your shoulder, and then speaking to you in Infernal. Go for it, whatever you want to say.
Hey, there's like shit in the garden. There's some stuff in the garden, maybe.
Yeah, pleasure, Rick. Which part of the garden can you direct me?
There's like a bird.
A bird? A raven?
A raven on a scarecrow, man.
Can you tell me which scarecrow?
It was the fourth one, right?
First one, closest.
It's like the closest one, dude.
Can you lead us directly to that scarecrow?
It's like the first scarecrow, dude. There's only a few of them. There's a raven on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess.
Rick's gonna summon his.
So
celestial
you can hear me
surfboard.
speaking infernal too, and you.
just hear
Is Rick invisible right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I take it's Rick.
Yeah, bro.
In common, just this voiceless. You can see a little bit of like the claw marks on the armor, but that's about it.
Yeah.
that starts to become wet.
Apparently, they saw a raven land on a scarecrow.
And we're just trusting ravens, you know? They haven't shown us that they haven't...
We were actually told to follow ravens.
We were told... no, I wasn't there when they told you that, but
I'm sorry,
they
I was
said
told
that...
to follow ravens.
Right. But they haven't shown us that, like...
Yet, perhaps.
That's true.
And you can speak to animals.
I can do my best. Can't understand what they're saying.
I think we need to make this quick. We have to leave soon.
I'm ready to go if someone...
As
think
Les
we should
just
leave.
starts going, okay, let's go now. It's time to get out here.
So I've got Rick, and Rick's obviously seeing this, and I'm like, Rick, do you want to go quickly get the doctor, figure out where they are? Or
Surf's up.
Ask him to go check out this raven.
He's
Where this
gone.
raven is.
yeah,
You just kind of...
He told you where it is.
You just smelled a little bit of sulfur cloud walking
Oh.
across.
Fucking Rick and his
God, the
bits.
fog clouds.
That doesn't smell as bad as what I just smelled.
Yeah, unless you step outside and you're like, I don't think you can smell anything ever again.
Air is for suckers.
So
Well, I'm ready
Rick-
to exit through the gift shop. Let's get going.
Yeah, let's head out. I'm done. Let's go, you guys.
I mean, we're still upstairs, but that's fine.
So you two are upstairs.
We
Rick
know
goes
that
back to your
it's-
shoulder. Small sulfur cloud appears when
Yeah.
he pops out beside you and tells you everything. And the two of you, at this point, make your way outside. Quick cursory check inside that barracks room, and then just have the stuff in there. And then you immediately hop back across, jumping down the stairs.
Yeah.
Nothing of any real interest there. Passing by the shroud covering the remaining parts, and then eventually outside to join up with the rest of the party.
Well, that was very educational.
We need to go, you guys.
We
Yeah,
said-
we
So
had-
you want to check that garden real quick?
Is that on the?
We need
That's
to
on the
go.
way
We've
out,
been here
right?
too long.
I'm not sure that there was anything 100%. If we ever come back, we can try it. But I think you're right. I think we should get out of here.
All right.
Is the garden on the way out, or?
No,
I
it's
saw-
the
It's not.
opposite
Oh, okay.
direction.
I saw I'll tell you what, that's all. Won't me leave.
We put a pin in that one.
It's been a pleasure having you here.
Hey,
If you ever
thanks.
want to come back, make sure you bring that fucking dress.
Right.
Yes, the dress.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Yes.
suggest red.
Tell the abbot to eat
He told
shit.
us.
Red
For the dress.
for the dress.
Any reason why, Otto? Sorry, I get names confused in my head sometimes.
Yeah, of course you do. Well, I mean, we all know Strahd. What is he gonna want? He's gonna dirty up a white dress?
Nah, that's true.
Didn't think so.
That's a good point.
Sure, we have seen what they do in shadows.
Because of blood. And biting and such.
But
Alright, can you see yourselves out or do you want me to?
No, we'll find
I
out.
think we can go.
Alright.
Thank you.
Been a great tour guide, Otto. I
He walks
appreciate
you
it.
outside the double doors and pulls the doors shut behind the heavy. As the key closes in the gate or in the double doors again, and you are led out as he kind of makes his way back to that scrap pile that you saw him crawl out from before, and pull over a small, almost looks like a set of curtains to cover himself, like some kind of a blanket, and kind of settles back into his little hovel.
Log back on the fortune. Call it a day.
We need to get back to Krisk.
Well, I
Before
mean,
it
it's
gets
just
dark.
down the hill.
What time is it now?
At this point, you've been there for, say, just about an hour or so, maybe an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. So it's still fairly late afternoon, give or take,
All right.
4:30, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I'd say we go get the fuck out of here and
Let's go. Well, let's take the evening to rest, as we said we were going to do. It's probably good to set out in the morning.
As much daylight as possible before
Exactly.
heading to the Amble Temple.
Because we still don't know where it is.
Casimir knows where it is.
Does Casimir know where it is?
He does know where it is 100%, right?
He knows the route to get
Yeah.
there.
yeah, he knows if we giving him a map.
Yeah, giving him a map, he can trace the route to get there.
Yeah.
Very
He just doesn't know the specifics of what's on the way. He just knows where it is.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I would like to talk to the burgomaster here anyway.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
I wouldn't mind finding a vial or two of oil that's come in handy a few times, and we've kind of ruined our entire supply by lighting werewolves on fire.
It was fun.
It was fun.
good times.
Alrighty. So making your way out of the gate, creaking it closed behind you, you see Otto pokes his head out just in case anybody else was coming in. Watches you all leave.
Give him a wave.
Just us.
Bye.
And he just kind of waves with his one human hand, and then goes back into his little hovel and allows you to leave. So
I do the thing where I go like this and then the
Freeze frames?
Yeah.
Don't you
Don't
forget
you.
about me.
Can Allura not go through the gate and do a running roll over
it's a
the?
10-foot wall, so you'd be able to do a flip up the top
Yeah.
and then over. Sure,
Yeah.
go for it. Make an acrobatics check.
Sure.
Oh, I thought it was a natural one. It's a whatever 7 plus 9 is.
16.
Thank you.
Alright, yeah, 10-foot wall, not exactly the hardest thing in the world. You kind of lightly jump from one, just barely touch your foot against the wall enough to just get a bit of a leap up, and then you kind of do like a half front flip into a handspring, and then just pull yourself over and just flip right over the other side, frequent landing.
Do we see this?
Arm out at the side, very ninja style.
I don't think we see the landing though.
You did. You just saw all of you kind of making your way, trudging over the gate, and you just hear a on the other side.
I think she's been practicing.
Fair enough.
If I walk by her, can I just go?
You know, she's like a good 15 feet away. She kind of lands and then just stands up very prim, just not prim, but properly, and just kind of shakes the little bit of snow that was on your vest.
Oh yeah, it's really cold here. I keep
It
forgetting
is.
that.
Yeah, you are all unaffected by it because of the heart of cinnamon, but otherwise you would be making Constitution saving throws.
Cinnamon.
Oh, except for me, right? Because I got my cool. I got my
You got
boots.
your boots. You got your boots.
Iced out.
Making your way back down, the ledge is
Sneaks.
a little bit slippery, but overall not the most scary of treks. Not having your cart with you definitely helped, so easily able to make your way down over the course of the next 15-20 minutes or so. You eventually hit the bottom of the switchback road that leads up to the Abbey, and you are back within the village of Chris.
Hey, can we do a quick debrief? What did everyone find in there? Because that was a really
Is
shitty experience.
Are we in Crushing Couch
Yes, you're at the bottom of the hill, just kind of wandering through the streets. There's a few people running to and fro. You can see a lot of people are still working into the evening. This is definitively communal living. Everybody just kind of goes between assorted patches of gardens. Any animals that are being tended to are done by multiple families. You can see multiple different makes of clothing. Everyone also is in very rudimentary pieces. Anything that is made functional for a reason. There is no extravagance. There is no ostentatiousness.
Everyone wearing orange.
Does it look... Is this a safe place to speak about it? Does it look as though anyone could be listening into us? Is there enough traffic
Make
to...
a perception check.
Which our own Otto's been with us the whole time. It's like, oh.
Cloven followed us out.
Oh, no, that's a 7. I was like,
I did the same thing!
Have I rolled a perception?
Yeah.
9.
9. Looking around, nobody seems to be paying much attention. I mean, you were the ones who led all the kids back to town. You're getting, surprisingly, quite a few, pleasant smiles and head nods. Appreciation of the fact that you're there. What you did was a very nice thing. People are definitely keeping their distance. They're not getting friendly. But in comparison to every other place you've been so far, not bad. Communism's a thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I kind of want to live in this village.
Seems pretty cool.
So I found a big room that Clovey took me into, and there was a lot of terrifying, smelly things. Very, very smelly things. And then this giant, hulking creature came stampeding towards us, and he clapped his little clawy hand, and then it stopped.
Was it the creature that came before Vasalka?
I think so.
Alith and I found the chambers of the old residents of the Abbey, including the hospital, and saw some stuff. There was a raven.
I saw a fucking ghost of a nun, and then the spirit of everyone who died in the operating table screamed out through my mouth. It's not been my best couple of days.
That was you!
It was pretty impressive, guys.
How... Would that have been some kind of residual spell, or are the spirits trapped within the Abbey because of the abbot?
I don't know if it's because of the abbot, but everyone that I felt in the table was human. So I got the sense that it had more to do with the people who had lived there before than it did with the abbot. But...
Leaf, make a religion check for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this taking anything?
Actually, I hope you as well.
Thank you. I was like, me too, please.
Excuse.
Me.
Yeah.
Sorry, your religion?
Unnatural 20.
21.
So the two of you, with everything that you've been told about Barovia so far, major thing that stands out is souls don't leave Barovia. Right? They get transferred into other people. You also know that there have been past experiences, some that you've heard of, some that you've read about. Hope you more so reading about them. Leaf you hearing about them passed down through stories of souls being trapped in objects, having no way out of a room, especially if the room was sealed in some way. And therefore, any creature that comes in to that room would, if they interacted with whatever object those were trapped in, would become a release for them eventually.
I see.
So you would imagine this was a situation where all of those souls were likely trapped in those rooms. Maybe the nun trapped in the nursery for whatever reason. All of the souls of the people who died on that operating table probably just never leaving for whatever reason.
Would I by any chance know, like, so it just releases, like, they're more of like a conduit, and then there's like nothing,
it's less so any manifestation internally.
Okay.
But a conduit is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Allowing them to be re-released and hitting that bubble that is Barovia, and then eventually bouncing back down to whatever residence would be born, kind of thing.
I see.
Huh.
And we reiterate this.
Well,
So-
Leaf, it sounds like you've had a real shit day.
I'm not going to be fucking possessed, is what you're telling me.
You're not going to be possessed,
No.
but you
You-
did something really good at the same time.
You are still going to be a werewolf, though, unless we fix that.
Ow!
Let's not say the W word around here very much.
It's fine, we've got a full month.
That's probably fine.
It's okay,
It's fine.
Shakira.
Shakira? These hips don't lie.
Shakira.
Oh, but one thing I haven't told you yet, I did find a spell scroll
Oh,
hidden amongst the wine bottles in
what
the
did
basement.
it look like? Did you take it, perhaps?
I did not take it.
If the doctor were to give you some of his paper, would you be able to draw it, or would you know if that would cause the spell to?
We can find out.
I did try to memorize it, but I have to say I'm not one necessarily for letters or for runes. Most of my spells come from herbs and such, but I can try. I know it looked like what leaf uses in his scrolls and books and things.
Mm-hmm. I'll hand you a piece of paper and a pen.
Okay. So, taking that, writing down as best you can based on the roll that you made earlier, you sketch it out accordingly. I'll get you two.
I was gonna say, can I assist at all? Like, if she's doing a shape that I might recognize, like maybe coach.
It's more so just because the shapes they are so minute. Think kanji, where a single stroke can completely change everything. So with this, I'll get you two to make Arcana checks for me, being the two primary spellcasters of that regard, and hope yours being slightly different, more based around holy symbol, whereas them of book learned.
Book learned.
Not me.
I got an 18.
I got a 20.
20, okay. It's tough to make out the exact details. You get the sense that it would be... I have to remember... Actually, you know what? I'm going to refer to the handy-dandy chart that I put in our Slack that outlines what the schools of magic are.
Oh, yes.
Excuse?
Let's see here,
Do you let it go with them then?
Yeah.
Oh, you gentle soul. You truly are Leaf.
I do my best to play neutral.
Where are we right now?
We're just like in the streets.
Okay.
It's just like
But I
children
kind of
running.
check to see
It's
if
it's a kind of a combination of conjuration, abjuration,
Okay.
creating something that then protects.
Yep.
And then a single word kind of catches through, and you see the word feast.
Okay.
Oh, that is sad.
So,
Why?
because
It's
there
a-
was that
it's a
thing
real
that
good.
feeds stuff as well. Or are you thinking
No,
that the
it's-
spell would have
yeah.
been?
The spell is a roll good spell. It's a roll good spell.
so
So
okay.
we know where it is.
We know where
if
it
we want
is,
to go
it's
back
fine.
and murder
the
this guy.
interesting thing here is you get all of this, but have no idea what it means. You, as a cleric, you pretty much know what this means. With the combination of what she's written and the fact that he caught the word feast being written,
Heroes.
it is you would imagine this would be a spell scroll of Hero's Feast. This is something that you currently have no ability to cast. It is a very powerful spell. Using that scroll, you could attempt to do it, but there's a pretty good chance you wouldn't be able to until you had become stronger.
We know it's there. Write that shit down.
And then
bold.
that seems like a clear indication that we should go back again until we're stronger.
Stronger.
Yeah, it was a DC 20 based on her roll. Combination of 25 total.
We're strong enough to take on growing man.
Well, I'm going to go find the burgomaster of this here town. I'd like to talk to him about the local geography.
You can talk to him about some fine wines, are ya?
I'd like to.
The geography or of the people, because what if the Bellevues were because we found out about the Bellevues and there were
sure.
multiple graves. If they were such a notable family in Kresk, surely the burgomaster or whoever the person who was in charge who greeted us would know some of that family history.
Or there might be some other descendants still in town.
That's true,
Let's,
or like a second cousin.
Billy
perhaps.
Old Billy Bellevue.
You know, like a
Al
second.
Bellevue.
What is Frodo again? Second cousin for 3 times removed, or
Something like
bullshitty
that.
thing
Well,
like
let's
that.
go find old Mr. B, burgomaster.
If we're going as a group, I want to kind of splint or just sort of like wander over to Allura and say like, "Was did something happen in there? You were something with Otto?"
Oh yeah. He definitely knows.
Samuel.
Samuel.
Oh.
He wiped away a tear as I was asking him about Samael. Now I don't know if that's because he knows him and Samuel's now dead, or if
He's a part of the
Otto
Silka,
is
maybe.
part of part of Samael in him. But he
Well, he's pretty heavy.
He was trying to hide that and was hiding it very well. But I did catch a tear.
Do you
As
think,
he-
yeah, either in mourning for the passing or the mourning of what was Samael?
Yeah.
Love is sweet and fleeting. Alright, let's roll.
So, making your way through the burgomaster's house,
Yeah.
in comparison again to both of the previous villages that you've been in, a mansion, grossly expansive, guards stationed everywhere. This is a standard building, no different than the neighbors.
Dig it.
No extra guards stationed outside. You make your way up, knock on the door. You hear some thudding coming down the stairs. The burgomaster himself opens his own door. Oh, it is pleasure to see all of you again. I believe you have...
Comrade.
Wow, you have all survived the Abbey. That is interesting.
We do our best.
It was quite an experience.
Well, there is a reason no one goes up there any longer, so it is good to see all of you have made their way back down.
Sorry, continue.
What can I do for you?
We
I
would.
did promise, of course, lodging this evening. There are spare rooms in my house, if you would like to use them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you. You're near the Wizards of Wine Winery.
Yeah, the Wizard of Wines, yes.
Yes. Do you know much about it? We got to meet one of the proprietors in Valaki.
Oh, I assume you met... God, it has been so long since
Her name was Danica.
Danica, thank you.
I'm just
yes,
like,
and,
I just awkwardly forced my way into the
Please.
conversation.
It is good to have someone to remember. But yes, Danica and her husband and their two boys. Yes, it is. Yeah, the two kids who were running around.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
I was just trying to remember if they were two boys or not. I was like,
okay.
We're just
"Were they?"
wary of children,
on.
always.
Yeah.
Children. Okay, kids.
Kids.
Except
what,
your new
Uh-huh.
friend. What's her
Yeah.
name?
what are the demons?
Yeah.
Yes, Danica, a lovely woman. She, well, I mean, she is still a part owner of the winery, but does not particularly work there much longer. More so, hawks their wares, anyone who comes through Valaki. But we go directly to the source, order everything that we need from them, and then they deliver it. But it has been some time since our last delivery. Typically they come up once a month or so, but they're closing in on 3 weeks late. So we are hoping that whatever is keeping them way late is eventually put right.
Really? Who runs the winery then?
It has been some time since I actually had any interaction with them. I'm trying to remember their names. Mostly I deal with the couriers, the people who drop everything off. One of them, his name is Marcos. But the proprietor, it is very rare. They rarely leave their winery for fear of losing it, of course, to the elements or whatever creatures come out of the woods.
Have they had issues with creatures in the woods? Do you know?
As best I know, all of us have issues with creatures in the
I
woods.
suppose that's
There's
so.
a reason that we have our wine delivered to us rather than going down there every time we want to refill.
Did you say the courier's name was Marcus?
Marcos.
Macros. Okay,
It's a
cool.
good, solid name.
Um,
Have you ever been to the winery? Danica said if we were ever in the area, we should stop by. But,
I have heard it is a lovely place, but my place is in my village.
of course, with your people.
With my people. We do not typically leave. Some families do brave the outside world eventually, trying to find any kind of animals that they can hunt and bring home for food. But we have survived very well within our walls, based on what the earth provides to us and based on what we are able to scrape together for ourselves.
Interesting.
Can I ask, these wine couriers, do they also bring the wine to the Abbey?
I would imagine so. There are always an extra barrel or two whenever they make any kind of delivery and drop it off at the Abbey as, I believe it is, he uses the word tribute.
Yeah, it sounds about their speed.
Interesting.
Is there anyone in the village? Sorry, go ahead.
No,
never mind.
I was just going to ask. The winery. How far is it traveling from Krisk?
traveling to the winery?
Yes. Just, you know.
On horseback or
Yes.
on
Horseback.
You could make it there in half a day, if that.
Okay.
It is not exactly far. Mostly just following a somewhat well-used path, but not quite the same as the road between here and further east towards the Rocky.
Does the name Argen Vostold ring any bells to you?
Argen Vostold. Yes, the name, as far as I remember, it is a very specific name given to an outpost of the Order of the Silver Dragon of Bahamut. Far east from here, southwest of Alaki, just off the main road. I did not know that it was still functional. I had heard that all of the people there had been, well, for lack of a better word, wiped out.
By what? We heard the name in our travels. And
Well, I mean, what do you think would wipe out an entire battalion?
of course.
Yeah, while we're asking questions about the local geography, we're doing a bit of sightseeing. We're gonna stop by the Gulthias tree, but we're not really sure where that's at.
The Gultias tree. I do not know of that name, but I know that there is some twisted, wretched tree further southwest of the Wizard of Wines. If you follow along the same road, instead of branching off toward the winery, there is a place, some refer to it as Yester Hill. Very, very on the edge of the fog.
Interesting. Sort of sounds like what we're in the market for. I seem to remember it being on a hill.
Yes.
We appreciate you answering these questions for
thank
us.
It is the least you. Sorry, I apologize. It is the least that I could do for you returning our children to their families.
When we were at the Abbey we noticed there was a lot of gravestones that had Bellevue marked.
The Bellevue family were the ones who ran the Abbey and the hospital. It has been some time since any of them were heard from. All we hear anymore are the screams and howls of whatever creatures lie within there.
Yeah, honestly, it's really not worth the trip.
I would not believe so.
Can I ask, were they what you consider good people?
Good people are the people of this village. We keep each other alive, we keep each other safe, fed, good drink when it comes. Beyond that, it is simply a matter of staying alive in these lands. Those of us who do our best, we do that, and those of us who don't.
Does the name Basilka ring a bell to you at all?
Basilka?
Never mind.
No, that name does not ring a bell.
It's okay. I don't know why I said it.
Was the Burgomaster being truthful when he was talking about the Bellevue people and kind of avoiding the fact that he didn't say whether they were good people or not?
Sure, go ahead and make an insight check.
17?
17. He seemed to be being fairly truthful. The debate of good or bad, he was more so referring to his people being good because they worked for the land, they worked to keep each other alive. The Bellevues potentially did that, and at times didn't, and so it was a little bit of a
Bourgeoisie, I getcha.
Okay, cool. I just wanted some clarification.
Yeah, of course. So, it is getting on a dinner. We can prepare food. It will be a simple meal.
Of course.
But I can at least offer you some kind of warmth in this biting chill. I assume all of you are freezing and none of you are dressed for this weather in any way.
I point down to my cool boots.
Is there someone who may have some spare cloaks or things that we could trade for?
If it is trade, I'm sure that something could be arranged. We're always interested for things that do not exactly make their way this far west. Coin, not much use, but if there is anything of interest in your wagon, I'm sure that we could come to some kind of an arrangement.
Of course.
10-foot pole?
Leaf clutches the full defensive.
Can we help in any way with preparing tonight's meal?
I mean, if
Or can I volunteer to help?
If any of you would like, the simple thing would be the cleanup afterwards. But if any of you are trained of either farming or gardening of some kind, or trained in cooking, I'm more than happy to enlist your assistance.
Oh, I've tended a garden or two. I can help with that.
Is anybody trained with either gardener's tools or cooking tools?
Nope.
No,
I pay people for that.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't believe
People
so.
pay people for that. It's true.
I pay them very well.
You do.
But I mean,
I don't cook things.
I probably am experienced in like cooking outdoors.
You would have a decent amount of experience cooking outdoors, but this is more so like preparing a meal for 7
Yeah.
people.
Like, I'm good with like a long sword, but I don't think I'd be great with.
knife.
Yeah.
I would offer to help clean up after.
Yeah.
So cleanup after would be taken care of by your party. All of the items that are served to you are very fresh produce. Very little meat. You get the majority of any protein that's put on the plates is from beans, from sorted legumes, but the meat is definitely scarce. You've seen that wandering around, that there are no horses in the village. Whatever cows there are definitively used for other sources than simply just for meat. So the majority of things that are served to you are incredibly healthy. Not the most flavorful. It seems like spices are one thing that are definitely missing. But overall, a warm meal on a cold night, never going to be hard to say no to that.
I'm never gonna eat raw fish again in mine.
Now, Les does look a little bit dejected at the end of this, eating basically your equivalent would be kelp. And you just kind of are munching away in some lovely cooked food, but overall just not what you're used to.
Meat and potatoes, kind of good.
Les,
No, just a
one day.
Yeah.
One day.
Never say never.
Last time we tried to catch fish, there was a kidnapped girl in the boat.
Let's not yell about that in a town where a bunch
And
of
we
kids
saved
have been
her.
kidnapped.
We save at least as many children as fuck us up.
It's true.
We have a pretty good ratio.
Inside the Burgomaster's mansion, it is the 6 of you plus him for dinner, and there are a few people that kind of scuttle in every once in a while, a few kids that wander around and kind of play on a few of the different things. Overall, you see inside that although the house exterior matches everyone else, there are a few pieces that are a little bit nicer, more so you would imagine items that are thanking him for his service as leader of the village, and nicer craftsmanship on things. You would imagine he's probably quite a good woodworker himself. A few pieces like his chair especially, nice high wingbacks, no real ostentatious designs to it, but nice just little filigree inlays, little small bits of painted wood in comparison to everything else being very functional.
Whilst like we were eating our meal, can I have like just been? I assume there would probably be some like regular chit chat on top of all of us questioning things.
Oh yeah, of course. Chit chat between everybody and between assorted people coming in and out.
Yeah.
You can see that as well that some people would be dropping off extra little bits of food and taking things that weren't eaten from within your place, maybe things that none of you particularly liked.
I'm feeling a little quiet at dinner after the questions and kind of really thinking about what's been going on. And I'm just letting my like eyes drift over everything in the room. Would anything stand out to me by doing that other than like the kind of additional craftsmanship?
In what way? Like as expensive, as intriguing?
As intriguing, or anything that kind of looks like it could be slightly out of place for what we are.
Sure, go make a perception check.
Thank you. That is a 19.
19. Out of place, not particularly. But of note here is you do notice that there are a few painted images. All very small, nothing in comparison, of course, to grandma's giant portraits of her and her kids or her husband or anything like that. But some smaller pieces on very basic canvas that you notice of the Burgomaster, maybe a little bit younger than he is now, but not by much, and then a fairly young boy at his side.
Oh yeah.
That's really the one standout there, is that since getting in the village, especially your little bit of insight into just the workings of people, is you would imagine that he may have been hoping that his what you would guess would be his son would be returned as well.
Son really looks like Carol.
I was just thinking that.
No, his son is quite young, probably 12, maybe 13 or so. Right around the same age that the kids who would have been taken would be. So.
I guess with dinner wrapping up, do we have any other?
I'm good.
Having done that, and I've kind of stared at it kind of pensively, and it just kind of, would the Burger Master notice me kind of looking at the painting?
That's what I just rolled for. Didn't really pay
Okay.
attention. He's more so engaged in the conversation of your group, listening to some of the stories that you're telling. He is especially interested in everything that happened with the werewolves. It appears that whatever wolves and werewolves were around this area were becoming an issue for people who were out hunting. So he kind of feels a little bit safer now, potentially sending more people out to be able to hunt for assorted animals outside their walls.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Burgomaster, would your people find any use in the head of Kirill that we brought through? Maybe to post it outside, scare off other wolves.
I can understand your idea for this, but
What are we going to do with it?
Just mounted on our car.
that creature has taken far more from our village than displaying his head will ever give back to the people who are
Of course.
still here. In some areas, I would imagine this would be a great trophy. For us, it would simply be a reminder of what we've lost.
Of course.
We're literal truckers. Like, we just have all this money. We spend it on a super tacky car and we strap some dead animals.
Carol's head is like basically our truck nuts.
Just front and center.
The daddy way.
Would your people have any value for? I'm gonna take out my climbing kit. 'Cause I'll need it.
Climbing
Go to a
kits.
mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, not many of us ascend to the top of the Abbey much longer.
Just free solo.
More so, we are looking for any kind of things to make life a little easier. I know, obviously, I assume at least, based on your garments and the fact that you're clearly quite powerful.
Oh, thank you.
If there is an ability for, I believe it is called an ever-burning torch, something that just consistently stays lit, that would be an immense assistance to us,
Of course.
preventing having to gather fresh wood and then dry it out from all of the snow and the wind and the rain. But beyond this, standard fare, of course, any kind of food that you can offer, seeds to be planted, things that will allow us to make our lives a little easier.
I've got a wee seed I can lend him. My little seed pouch.
Aww.
Doesn't fucking do anything. It just makes a little
Wee
tree,
seed.
but I can give him one. Don't, you know, where I come from, this kind of means a bit. So I really appreciate you taking us. This seed doesn't really grow into food or anything, but it's a memory of us. And I hope you can appreciate that. And pass him over just a little seed.
Thank you. I do not know what this will do. I assume if I plant it, something will grow.
That's the idea.
Alright. You're a bit bigger than most of our folk. And he kind of reaches in to the closet. You can see him rummaging around a little bit, and eventually does pull out a cloak that's a little bit smaller than the average, full-size human. Would probably fit you relatively well in comparison. It is a very thick, heavy fur coat. Very, very heavily done on the inside, thicker hides on the exterior. Just kind of. I want to thank you for what you did earlier for everyone. He kind of offers the coat to you, and it's a little bit tight, but you can kind of squeeze your shoulders in a little, and it kind of comes up maybe just a little bit above the cuff, but
I got a Jon Snow vibe off this. That kind of.
similar but less black,
Okay.
more like lighter grays and tans.
Cool.
It is not
Enjoy.
much that I can offer, but it is at least something to thank you for all of you've done.
Your hospitality is most appreciated.
Lighters.
What will be our sleeping arrangements?
Of course, there is a room on the floor. Of course, I assume you have bedrolls of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
we can easily move some of the pieces. And he just kind of beckons over, and a few of the people who've been coming and going and just having conversations inside, they start grabbing ends of tables and moving them out of the way, flipping them on top of each other. Lays out a fairly good 30 by 20 foot area for you to be able to lay your different sleeping bags, pillows, anything that you'd like. And they pull out a series of rugs as well to kind of lay on the ground to give you a little bit of a softer sleep.
Cool.
It is not much, but you are inside. You are out of the cold. I hope this will be enough for the evening.
It will certainly.
Thank you.
Now, I must retire. Lots to do in the morning, so sleep well, and I will see you soon. And he begins to make his way upstairs as all you begin to tuck in for the night.
If we're
all 6 of you sharing a room for the first
taking
time
it,
in a while.
yeah, if we're taking it easy tonight, I would like to take a look at Les, and I'd like to take a look at Alith, and I would like to cast Remove Curse on both of them.
So, both of you, as Leaf kind of comes over and just touches your arm, Les, you can kind of feel something that you hadn't really been noticing all that much.
Actually, I want to just make sure, like, y'all don't want to be werewolves, right?
Pretty sure you took our consent, but I don't want to be a fucking werewolf. No.
I just figured I'd run that one by you.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of weird having a hairy fish walk around, so.
We did literally see one of those today, but
I think I've heard of that sex position.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
I am rolling over and going to sleep. I have no interest in this conversation.
Damn. My mind went straight there. I was just like, nope. Anyway.
Are we arranging for someone to keep watch at all, although we believe that it'll be safe?
I'm gonna be
I'll
keeping watch anyway.
I can always. I mean, I only take 4 hours. I only take 4 hours to really get a full night's rest, so I can take a watch if we want to split it up into shifts.
Sure.
I'll take the first one if you want. I'm not gonna be able to sleep for a while after what I saw today.
I'll wake up early. Do the last watch.
Okay. So, sitting inside, finding a chair to prop yourself up against. Less you take the better part of 2 hours or so.
I'm gonna I'm assuming sitting on like a wooden chair or something. I'm gonna at the end of my trident, I'm just gonna be like carving into the chair the name of my friend from back home that I'm missing right now.
Because that was.
Yeah, are we gonna get cured?
Yeah,
Did that happen?
Yeah. Wait. Is everyone chill with the?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So.
Because if anyone's up, I want to roleplay a little. That wasn't a character.
Oh.
Les taking first watch. Everybody else kind of rolling over a little bit, and you've had a roof over your heads, but you've been sleeping in very unknown territory.
Is Casimir still in the wagon?
It's just out there freezing.
Given everything that's happened, Casimir is inside. He's kind of bundled himself up a little bit of a ways away from you. He knows you, but he's not exactly comfortable yet. But all of the rest of you kind of huddling in a little bit.
I was gonna say, like, for me falling asleep, like, I just, with me not taking a watch, even though Leaf was still awake, I kind of like snuggled in next to the mast. Like, if you imagine, like when a cat falls asleep next to a dog and kind of cuddles in, like that. Just
like a little semicircle of hope.
Yeah, just like basically also like my
God,
name
it's
is
the
Totoro.
tail.
Just like yeah, like
just notice the tail like starts to wrap around your leg a little bit, and then just kind of like just the point of it just presses against you a little almost.
And yeah, I'm just like.
Everyone's kind of tucking in.
Well, as the remove curse also takes hold, you reach out and kind of, we'll say simultaneously grabbing their arms. You two having noticed really nothing different about yourselves, you begin to start to feel a bit of a just as you, Leaf, and everybody else watching start to notice just a trickle of black going down from their necks, down their arms towards where your hand is, as you kind of like eventually pull back and pull whatever that ink blackness out of their system was, and you kind of feel the as it runs down your arms, eventually pulling it out and just kind of grasping into your hands, then closing it off as it just vanishes into nothingness. Whatever weight there was, however little, has been removed from your shoulders.
While I'm doing that, I kind of want to just sort of, gander over the crowd and say, hey, I know we talk a lot about, getting home and everything, and I feel like, I'm kind of curious to learn a little bit about it all. Like, what was home like for you guys?
Well, at this point, Les is the only one awake. Everybody else having gone to sleep.
Hey, Les. I'm up.
You're up, buddy.
It's more so
He's
just
up and waiting for
having
you,
seen
Les.
everything that you'd seen up there, and everybody else getting into a bit of a restless sleep, but eventually falling fairly deep because overall, this is a comfortable place. It's a house. It's furs under your heads. It's people actually offering you a meal, having a conversation with you, wanting to actually know things about yourselves, and all of you, as guarded as you are, offering little bits here and there, more so about the things that have happened to you since getting into Barovia, but it just kind of jogs your memory a little about what home is. And as everybody else kind of tucks in for the night, you kind of prop yourself up and untangle the tail from your leg and wander over to Les and pull up a seat beside him.
Yeah. So what are you doing, buddy? I guess I'll see scratch or something in the book.
Yeah, you just kind of see him like giant extended end of the trident. He's just holding one of the tips and just kind of
Graffitiing the Burgomaster's chair.
Yeah. Y'all good?
Just remembering why I'm here.
What, Carbonet? Is that a name of someone, or?
Yeah, someone from back home. In that crazy tower over there, I saw from what people described could be pieces of people back from my homeland. And as creepy as that is, keep finding clues that my people might have been here before. And apparently they have never traveled here before, so I was to be told.
It's pretty heavy. I didn't really, well, you seem like you're, got a good head on your shoulders, buddy. I really keep the party safe, and I appreciate that. I just want to make sure you're doing alright, because,
I didn't save one person.
Can I insight check to see if he wants me to ask about that?
sure.
Oh god, I don't. Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna just set an arbitrary DC for this.
Oh, well, it's up to you. Well, no, honestly, it's a 24. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Khalif.
Oh, okay, I thought this was. Jesus, I thought this was some like backstory stuff.
It could have been, but maybe
thought-
I'm deflecting it.
It's rich backstory now.
Oh, well, that's why we're a team, We we cover for each other when someone goes down and help out.
But I didn't. I had to retreat. For the first time ever, I chose myself over others, and it ended up in someone dying. That happened back home. That happened back home as well, and I'm never letting that happen again.
Well, it's stick your convictions, and you're a pretty principled guy, so I see a lot of good in you, buddy. You're like one of the. When I was younger, I used to like read stories and like meet adventurers and stuff. You're like right out of one of the stories I heard, so it's pretty cool to meet like an actual Triton. And I think you're upholding it, pretty cool.
Well, thanks, my friend. I appreciate it. But sometimes I don't even know why, but forget it.
Fair enough. I'll tuck in. Have a good one, buddy.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for saying that. Makes this journey all the much easier to deal with. You're the kindest person I know, Leaf, and the most hung.
With that,
And then it
feeling
begins.
proud of self.
Yeah. I go back and try and like slip my foot into a little circle. Just be like, here we go.
The tail?
Sorry, from my angle, that looked real awkward. Trying
Yeah.
to slip my.
Into
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hope's
that's the thing.
tail.
I didn't hear what you said. I was like, slip your what?
What into what?
I'm so happy I went to bed.
Hairy
before
fish.
this happened.
Harry Fish.
So you just putting like Hope's tail back on your leg.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
And
trying
he
to
just
make.
kind of instinctively wraps it around a little bit.
No.
All the rest of the night throughout Les's watch, nothing of any interest. Bit of a howling wind outside. But nothing else catches your eye. You kind of eventually drift off to sleep, and Alith, you force yourself to wake up and stay awake for a few hours. Eventually, at the end of 4 hours, nothing having happened, allow yourself to fall back asleep, and Allura waking up for the final watch. 2 hours, you begin to see the sunrise. Oh, sorry.
Alith, before you go to bed, something weird happened up at the Abbey. When I was off on my own, I saw a sign from light, which led me to a specific gravestone. So when I left to investigate it, the light had cracked one of the stones.
So a light, like from above?
Yeah, from the clouds.
Do you think it could have been from Paylor?
I don't know, but it directed me to a specific gravestone. The gravestone had no marker, no name, no nothing, but I'll like produce out the ring, and I'll also pull out the book of from my bag.
The tome of identification.
Thank you. No, I like book of better.
Yeah. Rolls off the
I thought that was my item.
It's in the bag of holding,
It's in
isn't
the bag
it?
of holding.
I have it
Oh.
You
because
do?
I was the one who did the last.
Oh, that's right.
The
yeah,
last
you're right.
identification.
Oh, I didn't get it back. Fuck.
Was there anything else in the grave? That's why you went to the
so
graveyard.
I'll pull out the ring. So I mean,
You found that.
I did.
You got it
It
away
was-
without the creature saying.
I fell over very clumsily.
And very strongly.
This is the planted foot into the fall with the shove.
So I think I'm gonna try identifying it. I think it might be magical. Should I wait and
No, let's
leave
do it
to-
now.
Thank you.
Let's look at it.
So, pulling the ring out, getting your first real proper look at it, you do notice on the inside, and having seen a couple of items at this point, and you especially as well, similar thing to reading the spell scroll, there are definitively runes on it. It does appear to be some kind of magical item. You're not sure what its nature is. Neither of you really have the background to know what that would relate to.
Does it look like the runes that I saw on the scroll, or like a similar kind of language?
Make an intelligence check.
My intelligence
It's
sucks,
the-
as we all know, but I'll try.
It's a feast ring.
How much does it look like it's worth?
It looks
Like
it's
just without the
I'll tell you in a second.
okay.
6.
6. Okay.
I are smart.
As Alith is kind of looking inside at the runes, you're admiring the exterior. And one thing that you're noticing is that as she's moving the ring, there appear to be almost like vines running across it of gold. But as she's turning it, the vines almost appear to be like shifting slightly on the exterior of the ring,
Cool.
kind of growing and then shrinking back down, kind of similar to like a slow heartbeat almost.
That's cool.
It's a very interesting thing, and you would imagine based on the pattern alone and the craftsmanship, and given the fact that it was found inside a stone tablet, you would expect it to have some kind of tarnishing, and there just isn't any. It is just gleaming brilliance.
Let's find out what the
You
fuck
would
this
imagine
is.
it's probably in the realm of 250 gold at least.
Okay.
Just give it the design and the nature of how beautifully everything goes together. So, for identifying it, if you can pull out the tome and the card, because it tells you what you have to do.
Do I have that?
I think I still have it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice little wallet for your cards.
Okay.
like that.
So, tome of identification. How many pages are left?
8 blank pages.
We're still doing okay.
Okay. So, using up one of the 8 remaining blank pages, what is it you have to do?
Okay, so a character may write inside the tome on a blank page, specifically describing an item they believe to be magical but do not know the properties of. If they do, that character makes a DC 12 intelligence check. On a success, if the item is magical, The ink is absorbed into the page, and the tome replaces the character's words with a complete description of the magical item written in shining gold ink.
Okay. Go for it.
A wake leaf up for a little guidance.
It's just a straight roll,
So it's that plus your intelligence modifier.
which is what on the back of that sheet. So that'll be a 17.
17.
Okay.
That's a DC of 12. So, with that, the description and this very slight picture that you draw describing the growing and shrinking of the vines that are going across it, similar to a heartbeat, the words flow out of the black quill into the page, eventually vanishing inside before eventually returning in shining gold ink with a complete accurate description and the ring itself almost moving on the page. This is a ring of regeneration.
Save.
This is an item I don't have a card for yet because I haven't been to my office, but what it does...
Okay. I got
Oh fuck, am I like...
is, I'll go ahead and read this one out. While wearing this ring, you regain 1d6 hit points every 10 minutes, provided that you have at least one hit point. If you lose a body part, the ring causes the missing part to regrow and return to full functionality after 1d6 plus 1 days, if you have at least one hit point the entire time.
Wow, that's fucking
Oh,
dope.
so we get to have a Deadpool scene.
Does that have to be attuned to the wearer?
It does.
So it's just for one person's
One
use.
person can wear this. Every 10 minutes, you regain 1d6 hit points. So basically, it's just if one person, like a tank, or like somebody who goes into battle a lot, takes a lot of damage, consistently down to 1 hit point and back up. If they walk away from that battle, you don't have to use spells to try and regain hit points for them. Or one person who's incredibly weak takes a decent amount of damage but doesn't otherwise need a lot of healing, you can use it for them. So it's a very nice item. I'll have a card for you ready next week. Or well, actually,
Next time.
next time, because we're not
Not
doing
next
it
week, but the week after.
but the week after.
I think Allura has the necklace.
Okay. Right.
So it's up to you to figure
We're
out
just
that
Yeah.
gonna die, but
Reading the words on the page, you just kind of looking at this and just turning it over, you're just like, oh shit.
oh man.
Requires attunement.
I don't know if I want to keep this one or the periapter wound closure.
Closure.
Wound closure.
Well, have you not attuned to that? Did you attune to the necklace?
Yeah. I can
Then-
just unattune to it.
Oh, you can?
Can you?
Yeah, I can give
Right.
it to someone else
Oh.
and they can attune
Oh,
to
I
it.
thought it
If
was
an
like
item is
yours.
more than
No.
30 feet away from you at any point, the attunement
Right.
automatically breaks. And if you take it off, you can unattune from an item over a short rest.
I see.
Oh, okay. I did not know
Yeah, I
that.
do
So I
think-
was like, I thought that was
I know you
yours
found
right
both
now.
of those, but we should probably split them amongst the part. Like, probably the same person should
Oh yeah,
wear
no,
both of
I'm
them.
not gonna keep both,
Yeah.
but I will.
Yeah, the one thing with the ring is it is definitively an out of combat item because it's 1d6 hit points per 10 minutes. Right? Whereas the periapt is specifically an in combat item. You drop to 0 hit points on your turn, you stabilize. So it's kind of up to you to figure that one out.
Yeah, I don't.
All
We
right.
can talk about that.
Yeah.
Next,
So
later.
the two of you kind of getting
But yeah.
a little
Woo!
excited as
Shiny.
Allura, you now wake up and get to spend the next couple hours just looking at this ring and seeing these vines grow and shrink and kind of imagine what that would feel like. It's up to you if you would like to attune to it over the course of the next 2 hours. You do have that ability if you'd like.
I'm gonna do that for
Just-
now.
Okay.
Stabbing
So
your
Till I
shield.
decide.
So you can be attuned to a maximum of 3 items. So you've got your frostbrand, the periapt, and this.
And this.
And that's the 3. Okay. So, waking up the following morning, everybody comes up from their slumber, feels incredibly well rested. Nothing perturbing during the evening. Some conversations, some nice pieces. A few of you notice Allura's sporting a new ring, but other than that, nothing else. So,
All right. Where to, friends?
The Amber Temple, I believe.
I think I'm ready to roll,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let's get Cass home.
I think
I don't
He's
think
not home.
It's
his
not-
Or
home.
what?
But once we get there, we can take him back. So you're
I think-
right in a way.
perhaps once we've been to the Amble Temple, we can then perhaps go back, kind of a different route, perhaps.
And swing by the winery and perhaps where the ghoulish tree is.
Yes, sir.
I'm also
Yeah.
intrigued to meet the Argensvoss.
That's past on the way. That's past Valaki.
That's
once we
going
get
back to Valaki. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
But we need to do to take Casimir home anyway after everything.
Yeah, I want to. I feel a deep desire to find this Order of Bahamut.
I think this Gulthius tree or Yester Hill or whichever, it's near the Wizards of Winery,
Yes.
and that's half a day's ride from here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be worth checking that out personally.
But
But
that means
I will go
that's-
with whatever the group says.
That's 2 other tasks. When we told Casimir we were going straight to the temple.
Yeah, but what's Casimir going to do? Walk?
I think we should honor the agreement.
I agree.
I think on the way back after the Amber Temple, we do those.
We might need a drink after.
It's true, and you're right. Casimir has no recourse but to come with us. But at the same time, he didn't have to tell us. He knew where everything was. He didn't have to leave his people behind to come with us.
He took great risk to leave.
Hitched to the wrong way.
We did murder a lot of the people.
Great
that were
risk and
sleeping. Okay, that's
and
fine.
risk to his people as well.
But I mean, perhaps we can ask him about it once we've reached the Amber Temple. We can, on the way back, we can ask him if he'd assent to a detour. But one of the reasons we went to the Abbey was because we were going to be stuck in this town overnight anyway, so it wasn't more of a detour than any other way.
You guys do you.
But I do want.
Casimir, although he's probably in the room with us right now.
He is. He's still sleeping. All of you kind of listening a little bit, just to talk quietly.
We just
He
keep
doesn't
talking
seem to
about
be
the third
noticing.
person.
Can I
that's
insight
never
check if
here.
he's actually sleeping?
Make a perception check, actually.
Pouting over in the corner.
I'm sick.
That's
pretty
going to be
still.
21.
21. Seems to be snoring.
Okay.
As you can tell.
Don't elves not fucking sleep?
We trans.
One
But-
eye open.
Yeah, well, I think we honor our agreement with Casimir as discussed, and perhaps, I'm intrigued by those 2, Doctor, and I think that would be part of our return journey and not to take any more of Casimir's time going to the Amber Temple.
Yeah, perhaps we can swing it after. But
I'm just saying, let's not lose sight of why we're here to get out of here.
But the Amber Temple was also something that we wanted to look into
Sure.
because of the prophecy. That
Sure. But that's days away, whereas this one is half a day away.
Is it still days away?
it's not half a day away, it's half a day's ride. And right now we can't ride.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are walking as Cinnamon pulls the cart.
Well, then it's even further for us to go. The winery might have horses.
Without the kids, we all fit in the cart.
Oh, that's... Yeah, but Cinnamon can't
Cinnamon.
pull all of us because we only have just them. Right?
There's still 2 people walking.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's about the same amount of time either way. It's just which one we do, because...
It's gonna be... Well, okay. Temple is still pretty far. We know the winery is half a day's ride away, maybe a day's walking, if we must. But there could also be... It's a winery. They have carts.
Perhaps, although it seems that there's something
Amiss.
fishy around there as well, yes.
That
No
they might
offense, Les.
reward us with horses.
If there are any horses still alive or any people still
If
alive
they've
there.
not done deliveries in 3 weeks, then it sounds like something may have happened to them.
Or we're walking one way or the other.
Should we just put it to a vote?
Yeah,
What do you all think?
Alright,
I think that's the best
hands
one.
raised for Amber Temple. And
There's gonna be a sword there. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you guys do you. I'm just pointing out the thing with the horse.
I hear you. I think from one thing to another we've started out, and I mean it was great that we got to check out the tower and then we did the werewolves, but I think we should keep trying to tick off the clues that we're in Hope's reading, and I think this is one that we have a very easy way to get to, which is that Casimir knows where it is.
I mean, not to be that guy, but we also know where the winery is, and ergo, we'll know where.
The Gulthius tree is, perhaps, but
But, outvoted, you do you.
thanks, Doctor.
Yeah.
We will attend. We will visit those places, just not at this time.
If we all make it back.
Well, no
I would-
guarantees, but I hope we do.
I think that's just kind of a given no matter where the fuck we go in this place, to be honest.
I think that's true.
Maybe that's why we need to get Casimir there, you know? Who knows what's gonna happen to that dude?
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah. We know where the winery is, we know where that is, whereas this, we have a guide who...
I've already said my piece.
I think you make a good point, Doctor. It's just ultimately, where do we go first? And I think we've all spoken about where we think. No need to rehash, but
Let's get that fucking soul.
Yes.
yes,
The weapon of
Yes.
vengeance beyond the amber
the
doors.
sword of sunlight.
And seek what lies in a pile of treasure.
I don't think it's gonna be that easy in the end somehow, but
Yo, I mean, the parent. Yup, who's leading the way? Let's lead the charge.
why? First thing, it's early in the morning. I'll kneel down beside Casimir and just put a hand on his shoulder and say, Casimir, it's time for us to be on the road.
And you just kind of, even for somebody who is used to trancing, he does awake with a bit of a start.
Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. I apologize. It has been so many nights of having to keep watch over my surroundings that when I get to sleep inside a house such as this, I sometimes allow myself to fall deeper than is necessary.
I understand. I hope you know we're all, even when we're sleeping out, we're all keeping watch. You don't need to.
Why do you think I slept so well? So, are we leaving today?
Yes, we're headed to the temple.
Beautiful. I'm quite excited.
How far is the temple, Casimir?
From here, we would have to make our way back to the River Crossroads. I would imagine 15, 16 miles. I mean, if we had fresh horses, we could make it in a day. Otherwise, we may be having to camp somewhere,
I think
especially depending on how the weather turns.
Yeah, no horses to be had around here, so
Unfortunate that everything happened the way that it did. But you must play the hand you are dealt. Is that the same? Yes?
it is.
Sounds like it could be true.
So,
Right?
we're going down the Solenka Pass?
Yes.
Okay.
The Solenka Pass, to my understanding, is some kind of an old guard outpost, long abandoned, I would have to imagine. Alright. So, pack up.
Sure.
Lead the way.
And saying our goodbyes to the burgomaster.
The Burgomaster has some small bundles of fresh produce that you're allowed to take. Definitively enough for one person for maybe 2 days, but it's at least a little bit. To
Thank
get
you.
through.
It is greatly appreciated. Perhaps we could bring you something if we can
Yes.
next time we are here.
If we pass through, again, we'll be sure to hunt on our way in and try and repay this kindness.
We would appreciate it, of course. As I said, it is not the easiest for us to get fresh meat, so if you are able to find anything in the forests, even scraps of any wolves that you find, no werewolves, though, please. I'd rather not have someone come back on my doorstep that transforms back and suddenly I have a dead person on my hands. So, I wish you the best. Good luck on whatever journey it is that you are trying to complete.
Thank you.
Walks you out to the front gate,
Comrade.
motions for the gates to be raised, and you hear the heavy clanking of the wheels being pulled as the doors begin to open inwards, and the road is laid out in front of you.
Yeehaw.
Making your way back east, nothing befalls you. No sounds of wolves or werewolves coming from the forests. You would imagine that whatever had transpired in the previous days, a message has been sent. Whatever creatures that are here seem to be giving a wide berth to whatever went from the werewolf's end into the village of Grace. You follow back along the road, eventually finding your way back to the Raven River crossroads, crossing over the bridge where you had that encounter with the ironclad figure carrying the sword. Traveling a little further east again, still very few sounds. A few caws every once in a while. Leaf in the leaf, you start to notice that whatever ravens were not present before seem to now be following you from distance again. Treetop to treetop, following overhead at a height of a few hundred feet every once in a while. Whatever they are, they appear to be watching over you again.
Do they look like the were ravens or the regular ravens?
It's tough to tell this distance.
Okay.
Do a little wave to him.
Whatever they are, they seem to be following you. So, a little bit of contentment, maybe. About the best you can muster. Eventually, you do get back to their branching off point. Casimir slowing the wagon down, telling everyone to wait as he kind of looks out the side and looks back towards what his home has been for the last few hundred years. Before eventually indicating to turn right, heading due south. Road travels on mostly straight for several miles, flanked on both sides by thick forest and dense brush. Just a slight meander west before the woods to the east begin to thin, then disappear entirely. Suddenly you find yourselves looking out over a sloping landscape along the left-hand side of the road. Hills and mountains to the southeast. It's one of the first times you've seen Barovia without a forest blocking your sight. Even the fog appears to be unable to rise to cover the heights in view. Inside the wagon, those of you kind of sitting with Casimir just... The road is long. We'll be exposed for several days. At this pace, at least. But the temple lies at the end of it. I'm coming for you, Katrina. And he just kind of puts his hand between his legs. The journey is long, arduous. Even with looking out over the landscape, those of you with the backgrounds that you've had before, you're kind of used to it. It's been nice for a little bit, but several hours in, no sound, no creatures coming up, except for the ravens that are following in behind. Initially 2, now just down to 1. You finally eventually make yourselves through an area that begins to get a little more on the rocky side. A bit of a wind starts to nip at you. Icy chill starts to permeate a little bit. The warmth emanating from hope definitely helps, but it's getting into your bones a little, and all the kind of bundle your cloaks around yourself, shivering just a little bit, but still managing to evade the effects of the extreme cold. Eventually you come to a shelf of rock on which the mountain road grows narrow. To your left, the icy cliffs rise sharply towards dark rolling clouds. To your right, the ground falls away into a sea of fog hundreds of feet below. Ahead, through the wind and snow, you see a high wall of black stone, lined with spikes and topped by statues of demonic vultures with horned heads. Set in the center of the wall is a single, closed iron portcullis, behind which burns a curtain of green flame that completely breaks through all of the wind and the snow cutting across. You just see this shining brilliance, a light on the other side of the portcullis. At this point, about 100, 120 feet away. Anything beyond that blocked completely, either by the walls or by the flame itself. On the other side of the dark wall, gripping the mountain's edge, is a single 30-foot high guard tower of white stone, topped by golden statues of warriors, some kind you're not sure, but in assorted poses, all carrying lances, long 10-foot spears, all solid gold as well.
Did we cross a river?
Did you cross a river?
Yeah.
You haven't seen a river yet?
Okay.
Oh, so we're there.
No, we're somewhere else.
You're somewhere on the way. And Casimir kind of looks out and...
I took your silence to be we're doing a thing.
Oh no, you're 120 feet away or so from this iron portcullis gate, and then you just see the green flame flickering beyond that. Currently, you don't see any other way to get through except through the gate or over the wall.
And you said there was statues of demonic vultures?
Yeah, 2, 3 of them maybe that you can see.
Yo, Casimir, what's this?
He kind of like looks out and... I don't know. I would imagine this is something on the way to the temple, but I do not know what this is.
And there's no way to get around.
It goes from one edge of the rock face,
Yeah.
which is sheer, almost 50 feet of just straight vertical, up to the top of a higher level up there, and then it's the wall, which is about 30 feet high or so, and it's just straight across, except for the portcullis, which is in the middle, and it's just kind of a stone arch with a giant iron gate.
Okay.
Do the demonic vultures look like kind of religious deities or any kind of like...
Make a religion check.
Okay, and that is an 18.
18. Based on everything you know, not really. You're kind of thinking they vaguely remember, or they vaguely remind you of some kind of creature, but you're not quite able to remember what it is.
Can I have Rick pop up and take a closer look at the statues?
Can I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so Rick pops up, visible, invisible?
Invisible.
Invisible?
Yeah.
So he flies up, kind of flying ahead, just a little bit beyond the range that you're able to communicate with him, unless you guys continue moving.
I imagine we continue moving.
Can I flick detect magic?
60-foot range. You're not there yet.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So we need to be...
Yeah, we'll keep moving up, but we'll maybe stop well ahead of the gates.
What is the distance for divine sense?
I think it's 30 feet, actually.
Is
It's
it?
whatever it is, it's pretty short. I think it's actually shorter.
I know it's got to be within eyesight.
You have to be able to see something, but I think it's within a really short range, actually.
Yeah, I haven't got that wrote down for some reason.
60 feet.
60, okay.
That's so funny.
What?
You know the type, celestial, fiend, or undead of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. In the book, the vampire Count Strahd von Zarevich, for instance.
Yeah.
That's funny. Sorry, continue. So,
You got the straw.
Except for we know what the fuck that nerd looks like.
yeah. So,
Strahd.
Yeah,
making your way forward,
He can
within
disguise himself.
100 feet, do you continue moving forward?
I think we move forward, but still keep like a safe.
Maybe just within 60 feet of it, but just within so that you guys can cast your spells.
Yeah.
Sure. Alrighty. So all of you kind of moving in. Rick staying within that range, being able to communicate with you over. Are you looking through his eyes?
No, just telepathic.
Okay, just telepathically. Okay. So he's flying overhead, kind of goes up beside those stone creatures and kind of looks at them a little bit. Kind of reaches a claw out, taps against them. No real interaction of any kind.
He's a demon. Does he have any concept of what these guys are?
Make a history check for him.
Okay.
Or intelligence, actually.
That is a 12.
12? He's not sure.
Hmm.
They definitely look demonic in some way. He might have seen them, but he doesn't know what they are.
Yeah, no.
Whatever they are, tapping on them, they're stone.
Cool. What does he see over the wall?
Sorry? Was he see over the wall?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll just pop into his eyes.
Pop
Take
into
a look
his
over
eyes.
there. Take a look over
So as the caravan continues moving forward, you see the doctor's eyes kind of roll back into his head as his head goes a little bit limp. Looking over through Rick's eyes, you see that there's, beyond the wall of green flame, there's a fairly large watchtower on the right-hand side, maybe a good 30 feet or so away, and it's kind of splintered off of the main road. And then the road just continues arcing around the fairly large, steep cliff on the side. Beyond his ability to see, it's just snow and hail crossing his vision. Anything beyond about 100 feet or so he can't see.
Cool. I have what I need.
Alrighty. So popping back. Beautiful. Reappears on your shoulder, puff of smoke.
Letting everyone know it's there.
Okay. So, being to make your way further forward, detect
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah, I want to flick detect magic. And
Okay.
Can I just take a look at the gate, see if anything
Sure.
pings on?
Everything in view. So the gate emanates a faint aura of, I think it would be abjuration magic.
Okay.
Just quickly check. Yeah, it would be abjuration magic. The wall of flame behind, definitively evocation. This is something that is there for protection, for damage, whatever it is. Everything else about the wall, about the creatures on top of it, Nothing appears to be
Okay.
pinging for you.
Just making sure we're not seeing any transmutation magic.
Not that you can see.
And if I pop my divine sense as well.
Nothing. No
Alright.
pings of any kind. Undead, fae, celestials. Nada.
Cool.
So there's nothing here and no way to get across.
If only you could fly over.
The wall of flame.
How far away are you guys from the wall?
We're
at this point?
60 feet,
You
so
just
like we're just.
hard at 60 feet. You're stopped.
I thought we stopped at pretty
Just
much
inside.
the range.
We'll
for
say
us to-
59, yeah.
55, yeah, just to be on the safe side.
Put a foot over 50.
It's up to you. And Casimir, at this point, he's just kind of looking out and just. I don't know what to do.
Perhaps it's a riddle of some kind.
Perhaps it's also another thing like that. God on the bridge. We have to prove that we are doing something good. The wall of flame. I wonder if I could perhaps cross that with me being somewhat fire resistant.
But there's still the gate to get through.
What places have we been told about? What could this be from the information that we have? Is it the Brotherhood of the, or that was past the old Svalich road, the Brothers of Bahamut?
Well, I think I would have recognized the creatures on there if it was to do with Bahamut.
What else have we learned that this might be?
Is it something that could it possibly be creatures aligned with the Night Mother?
No.
Do we know anything? I mean, we're less familiar with her, and this land is less about her than the Dawnfather, but she is his counterpart to some degree.
Yeah, but she doesn't seem to be the fiery type.
But what have we been told about already that this might be? Because we've been told about a number of places.
This is Solanka Pass.
Right.
Is it not?
No, yes, this is the Solanka Pass. But
I
what?
don't
Is
remember
this
us hearing
where
anything about this.
Strahd and the wizard had their fight?
No, that was on Mount Baratop.
Does Solinka, the word, mean anything to anyone? Do we think the name of this road is literally, this is the Solinka Pass? We have to pass through here?
Do any of us know the word?
Casimir, does that mean anything to
Yeah.
you?
Nice, this Casimir.
Casimir kind of like thinks back. He's got a pretty long memory. As far as I remember, Solenka was one of the guardians of the road to the temple. I would have to imagine this would be something named after them. I don't know what would cause it, but whatever it is, I would imagine those wanting to make their way to the temple would have to pass in some way.
So, sorry. It's just like a parapet on top of the thing?
So it's a wall,
Okay.
iron gate,
Yep.
and then a stone arch above that. You've got a couple of those demonic statues, 3 of them, 1 on the left and 2 on the right. Iron gate, and then about 15 feet beyond that, big wall of green flame that completely blocks the entire entrance.
I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna fly.
Okay.
I'm gonna pop fly and just go over the wall into the other side of the gate to look around. But I'm do it very sneakily.
Okay. So, casting fly just on yourself?
Because I can only do it on one target.
No, I think with fly at higher levels, you can target multiple creatures.
Yeah, 4th. I don't have 4th yet. Do I?
I think you've got 4th level spells. Could be wrong. Yours are level 6 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't have 4th level spells.
That's crazy.
Probably.
Maybe it's 5th level you get them, or 6th level you get them.
7th.
Oh wow! Yeah, no, you get them at 7th level. So you're right. So you're at 3rd level.
I know. It's so.
I'm waiting.
I might know a few
Not that I don't trust you. I'm just checking.
That's fine. No, please.
Jordy,
Oh, yeah,
there's a lot.
It is a 3rd level spell. You're right. Sorry, that was 2nd level for some reason. Okay, so casting fly on yourself, you kind of reach out, and all of you, none of you really having seen this before, you start to notice the doctor begin levitating off the ground, and then you just hear, "Oh shit, that's awesome!"
Yeah.
And then you just as the 2 of them begin to fly.
Like, are you like?
See ya, suckers.
Are you? Can I just get some visual clarification? Like, are you just kind of like stepping through the air? Are you Mary Poppins in it, or like how are you flying?
Or like Doctor Stranging?
Swimming.
I feel like it would be kind of a Mary Poppins-y thing with my staff.
Yes.
So
I'm so glad I asked for
Are all
clarification.
you staying in range, or are you all moving up closer to the gate?
Let's move up a little closer because there might be some kind of inscription or something, further clues for how to get through, but maybe still good.
I know it's abjuration magic. I'd maybe recommend backing off a bit.
Abjuration is protection magic, typically.
So we can get closer without actually touching anything.
But it depends if the doctor's wonderful flying triggers it in any way.
I could stay in the wagon with Gaz.
Why?
Well, we could perhaps.
Where are you, the lights?
What was the range for the electric shocks? Are pretty much within 30 feet, I recall. Like when we've been shocked by protective magic.
Well, there's
So-
still magic here, so it's not an anti-magic field.
No, I'm just
ground.
meaning like when we have
The lightning.
the lightning kind of
Yeah.
strike.
Like if it hit somebody, how close was the next person?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're all spread out.
So
So we'll say you guys kind of keeping in time. You just basically flying beside the wagon at first.
Mhm.
Okay. So making your way in time, slowly, eventually getting closer. Doctor, you begin to lift off a little bit as the rest of you get a little bit closer. As you approach within about 20 feet, 25 feet or so, looking for any signs of life or a way to open the gate, the portcullis begins to just creak and grind, crashing metal on metal as it slowly begins to rise up from the ground.
Then I'm going to land on top of the wagon.
Landing on top of the wagon?
Yeah.
Okay. It rises up, and as you begin to get closer, 25 to 20 feet, it rises a little higher, 20 to 15, a little higher, until eventually it is at the peak of its height. However, the wall of green flame remains.
Well, I mean, we were going to have to deal with that sooner or later.
is there anything like around the stone archway, like any runes or anything that could help us to kind of get past through the green flames?
Perception check.
That is an 11.
11. Not that you can see. Everything is fairly bare. It's all fairly well eroded at this point. You would imagine the snow and the wind whipping through. It's smooth. And looking for any kind of runes, any kind of symbolism, there is nothing. No plaques, no information, barely anything more than a scrape of rock.
How about on the inside of the gate?
Inside of the gate?
Yeah.
It's fully raised at this point. You flying up.
Oh, but I mean in the inside of the wall.
Oh, inside of the wall?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're now on the other side of the gate. Nothing happens. The heat from the wall is completely scalding. You're not being burned, but you would
It's
imagine
like
that
an
if you got
open
much
oven.
closer, you would begin to start taking a substantial amount of burn.
Can I look up at the birds and just go, "Oi, birds, are you awake?"
They're just kind of frozen in place, just horned bills out and like horns twisted off to the sides, unmoving.
Is there still that singular raven near us?
The raven is circling fairly high overhead, a little bit of a ways back from you at the moment, but it is still there.
Maybe the raven would help guide us through.
I mean, I can't talk to him.
Yeah, I can kind of shout and wave at it, see if it'll.
Perhaps when a leaf is less occupied, they can help us with that.
So it's just a wall of flame preventing us from getting to this watchtower.
As far as you can tell.
I just need an old car from 1928 and drive through.
It is a magical wall,
I don't got nothing to
Oh.
dispel no magic.
I've got my wall of water, but I don't think it's going to really help in this instance.
You could try. It's a fun trick.
Put it out.
Magic begets magic.
Would any of my icy goodness could assist with it?
We'll start off with less. So for you, for your wall of water, go ahead and make a.
It's our
Wow.
sink.
Oh Jesus.
Sorry.
I was like-
What is your spellcasting ability modifier? Does it say what that is? Let me check this. Because you are not from Xanathars, you're from Bolos. Check.
Bolos, got that Bolo.
Oh, good thing I prepared Dispel Magic today. I do have Dispel Magic, I just don't have it prepared.
Well, hey,
Oh shit.
You have an item that allows you to change what your prepared spells are.
Also, we had a long rest, so it's a new day.
It is.
So, did you choose it as
I was
part of
gonna
your
say,
new
yeah.
day?
I sure did.
See how this goes, and then I'll.
Just checking here. Goliath, Lizard Folk. Tabaxi, Trade.
Counter spell the wall.
Well, just like send a wall like straight through it.
Exactly.
Or in it. Like in it.
I swear to God, if we just find another guy that's just like randomly walked through here, it's like, how did you get
forgot about the hole over here. It's really convenient to walk through the wall fire.
Make the wall
Hey, you know
up to
what'd be
30
cool?
feet long,
If you
10
went to
feet
Ardenvoss
high,
Salt.
1 foot thick.
It's a
Dang.
big boy.
Not as thick as others.
Stomach.
You know what? I'm gonna make you make a charisma check for me.
Alright.
Check.
So,
Test that moxie.
as you throw out your wall of water, expending its use, you force it as much as you can to create kind of an archway that's large enough for your party to be able to pass through. Given this is spell casting, it is innate. You'll go ahead and get your proficiency for this as well. So add proficiency and add charisma. Go ahead and roll for me. I've got a DC set for what you're gonna have to beat.
So I'm adding a plus, right?
Yes. So you're adding
Plus anything.
charisma, so +1, plus your proficiency, which is
Oh,
+2.
it's a saving throw?
No.
No.
He's telling you what to add. +1, plus.
Because it's +1 for your charisma. Oh,
I have a
your-
12.
Yeah, your number at the top of the 0 should also be a +1.
Oh, it's a 1 now because it's 12? Oh,
Yep.
sick. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so you get +1 for your charisma, and then your proficiency, so that's +3.
22.
22.
Dang.
Oh, a natural 18.
Yeah, natural 18.
Alright, yeah, DC was 20.
Go!
So with that, you just kind of like pressing that wall of water and forcing it into place. And you hear the hissing and the bubbling of the steam. It creates a bit of a path where the fire that was there begins to slowly sink aside. And you get a very brief window where you could rush through if you wanted to.
I'll go.
Okay.
No,
So
I
you
just.
We're all
So
going.
you just
I'm
kind
getting a
of.
question for me to say I was going to go through.
Yeah, you're just kind of holding it and getting prepared. Allura suddenly jumps up beside you, and you just instinctively break into a run, and the two of you just start streaming forward through that.
Get this.
Oh, you're the oxen free!
And you just run, and get through. Who's following in behind? Is the cart the last thing, or are people still on the cart?
I would say Cot's next.
Cart's
Like,
next.
I'm like, Cinnamon, fucking go for it.
Alright, so you just kind of and go, and run through as quick as you can.
Wait, we could
And
all be in
the
the cart,
water at this
right?
point is really starting to fade. The steam is coming up.
Oh.
The wagon just barely gets through. The three of you, you sitting in the back with Casimir.
Yeah, we'll say that.
I was on top of the wagon.
You were on top of the wagon, so you can kind of press yourself down, and you were.
I don't know where I was.
You would be able to feel like we'd all be able to be in the wagon, right?
Yeah, or up
Well,
front.
two people weren't,
people
so
walking,
you
yeah.
two weren't. So if you were in the
Oh, yeah,
wagon,
so I guess we're
I
on
think
that
I would have
one.
been up front. Like maybe if Hope is driving the wagon, I would have been up there with them.
Okay. All right. So yeah, pushing your way through, just barely making it through to the other side as the fire just begins to bubble up from the ground again, creating this giant wall. You get a bit of a singe on the back, and you have to pat out some of the flames that are on
Good thing our flame decals.
on the
The daddy wagon.
yeah,
Through
on the
the
daddy
fire
wagon.
and
On
the
the, I was gonna say on the canvas of the wagon. But in patting out the flames and a couple of small holes that'll probably need to be patched.
I'll
but
mend those bad boys.
otherwise, you did manage to make it through to the other side. Nicely done.
Thanks, Les.
Yeah.
That wall,
Very often
Good
I
one,
get to
Matt,
test
Matt.
that
that
within
wall
fire.
of water.
Glad we've got Triton with us for more reasons than one.
You're welcome.
So, looking ahead,
Nothing.
you see the curtain of green flame looking back, completely filling the archway. Now looking back in on the other side, you can't see the portcullis. You can barely even make out the stone arch. Whatever it was, appeared to be there for a reason. Potentially decide those who are worthy. So, well done.
Level up.
My ego just went through the roof.
Oh no.
Making your way a little bit further along, the wind and the snow is biting. It is harsh. You still have fly active for I think it's an hour.
Yeah.
Getting
so
buffeted
you're able to basically go anywhere you want.
Yeah,
for the rest of the while.
But also bearing in mind to stay within 30 feet of me, otherwise
Does the cloak I bought in Velaki give me anything? Or cold? Okay.
Yeah, it's specifically cold weather clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only
got
person
your
who has those
boots?
right now is Lura, and you.
I like have a thing that I think means that like I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, you aren't affected by extreme cold, and I don't think ice causes you to lose.
Yeah.
Or gives you difficulty.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm chilling.
pushing your way through, eventually coming to the other side of that first gateway, you do notice that there is the large guard tower now off on your right-hand side. Small road that leads off into that, about 30 feet or so square. But further ahead, the winding road just continues around the side of the mountain, disappearing off into the distance through the fog and the rain.
What time is it?
At this point, pushing on late midday, probably sometime between 3 and 5 o'clock. You don't have a view of the sun. You're not really sure what time is at this point, but it is still fairly light out.
I mean, if no one's opposed, it might be worthwhile to check out this guard tower.
Might be somewhere to make camp, but it may also be something that
takes.
Seems to have a pretty good record with towers. So.
no dragons in this one, I hope.
Or what?
Just
Night
these big-
hags.
These big vulture things.
Yeah, right. That was a windmill.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tower-esque.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
How long are we going to do this session? Because I probably have to leave
Yeah,
soon.
so this is just, it's deciding what direction you want to take, and that'll be where we go.
Oh, bollocks. Can we not be like, and we decided next time?
No, because he needs to write
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's all written. It's more so just so I can leave on a nice note instead of being
Oh.
like, and we're done!
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
is it not like the cliffhanger of, well, happily choose, but maybe
I
not.
mean,
I'm just being
Let's
like,
say we're
comment
gonna
in the
we're
chat.
gonna check out that fucking guard tower. We all
There
know
we
it.
Yeah.
We're
It's gonna
like
happen.
cats. We're like, ooh, what's in here?
So, the tower door is made of iron-bound wood. Pressing against it, you see no reason why it wouldn't be open, but you hear the thud of wood on the other side, indicating that it likely has been barred in some way.
Well, now we gotta burn it down.
On that note, that's going to be where we wrap up tonight's session. Awesome job, guys. That was a really great one. Some cool revelations, some cool information, some cool items. all
Yeah.
around.
Creepy
Seriously.
shit.
Creepy shit.
Creepy
but
shit.
thankfully, no more creepy shit for a while.
I don't think that's
believe
I
it.
don't believe you.
2 weeks, no more creepy shit.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for watching tonight. We got a couple comments in the chat. Yeah, Eric Snyder beat the shit out of Strahd. Yeah.
Oh, we hope to.
We will do our best to do that.
Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Awesome. So we'll see you guys back here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Until then, stay happy, stay healthy.
Bye.
Happy Canada Day.
Drink your water. Clovis.